everybody out there. Welcome to the Eye Test, the sports show where we focus on what we see with our eyes and not the things that you see on the stat line. I'm your host, Mark Coles, and of course, I'm with my co-host, Shawn. Redact his last name because he don't like
Nah,
that.
man. Nah, you already said your last name. Give me my last name too. Don't try to play me.
What is this? Now you want your
Look,
last
man,
name?
you this whole
Like,
time,
yo,
nah,
you
man. Look, see, you
left to
do this shit,
right.
man. Before, when you was given your first name only, and then you
I
was given
never
your
did
last
that
name.
though.
When you whatever, man. Look, we gonna have to find the files. We keep saying that shit. We gonna go back. I'm too lazy to go back. But I'm telling you, you was given your regular name, your first name, and then you given my whole government. Now and then everything was all was fine. You went to just giving first name for each of us.
Hmm.
You give your last name and now talk about some redacted, scrub it from the files and shit, motherfucker. Ain't nobody asked you to not. I didn't ask you not to give my last name. You gave your last
You
name.
know, you specifically
All,
asked me not.
all I wanted to do is for it to be fair. Okay, if you say your last name, you say my last name, vice versa. Don't be trying to don't be trying to switch it up and act like I'm the one. I'm the reason why you can't say my last name.
This guy is tweaking.
Come
Listen,
on, man.
everybody.
Already,
This guy
already,
is
I can already
tweaking.
see you on some bullshit today. Already,
Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, man. Like, yo, maybe you.
clearly.
I don't see you double fisting or nothing. Maybe that's what you need. You need
Dog,
to.
you know what? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and introduce Chris. because I'm gonna get into
No,
what I'm
no,
thinking
no,
tonight.
no. I got this. I got this. I got
Oh, you
this.
go ahead then.
I
But
got
once
this.
once you finish introducing everybody, however you feel like, then I'll get into what I got in this drink right here. Okay?
Okay, okay. Listen, well, today, everyone, we have a guest to talk boxing with us because there was a recent boxing event. It's a special guest. What some of you might know this person, you might recognize the voice. We have Kratos in the building, you know. So, so,
Oh
yeah.
man, y'all see it already.
So Kratos, let everybody know what's up. How you
What's
say
up,
hello?
man? Good
Yeah,
evening. Good evening. How's it going, guys, man? You guys good?
yeah.
Everything good? Good to be here, man.
I
See, I
appreciate.
already told you he was gonna be on some bullshit, right? I already told you,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know.
All right. Now, real rap, everybody. The gentleman's name is Christopher Clark. He is a co-worker and friend of Shawn's, and he expressed to us that he knows his thing about boxing. He wants to come set some things straight. Uh, One of the people that he wanted to set things straight with our special correspondent Tyrone, I believe, but unfortunately he's not here with us today. We're going to get
Look,
these two
man, I'm
together.
I'm I'm gonna go ahead and say some things, man. Look, I just find it ironic that we finally get Chris on here, right?
Uh,
Like we already know what was gonna happen with him and Tyrone being in the same space. Tyrone's unexplainable, extraordinary love that he has for John Jones, and then
Yeah.
and then you have Chris's his love for Izzy. I feel like it would have been great, and I feel like I don't know, Mark. Did you tip Tyrone off? Did you let him know Chris was showing up? Is he ducking the smoke?
nah,
Is that what happened? I'm trying to figure
listen,
it out. I'm
listen,
going to say he's ducking just because he's not here to defend himself. So
listen.
he's ducking.
You know me. My plan was just to bombard him and not know what was going on. But so,
Yes, that would have been beautiful. That
so
definitely would have
like
been
I mean,
beautiful.
it is what it is. But anyway, guys. Hey Chris. Can you say "boy" one time for me?
That's kind of like, of all words, you want me to say boy?
The
That's
game,
kind of
God of
like,
War, man. He said, "Boy, come here, come here,
it's,
boy."
see, I don't play
Okay.
bullshit like that. So,
Oh,
Hey,
oh.
no.
you know what though? He does play UFC, Mark, and I know you're a fan
Mhm.
of UFC.
Mm,
I don't know how much fight. I don't know how much fight night he played. I don't know, man. Look, man, we
mm.
gotta set something up though.
But this, he said. Well, you know that they were talking about making a new one.
Yeah, yeah.
So
They talking about it.
yeah, they are talking about it. One thing we could possibly get into tonight is Madden, and how
That's right. We
they're
can't.
failing their fan base. Now that we brought up EA in sports, in the sports conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but anyway, uh, let's not stick around into this. Um, so
Hold on,
Chris,
man.
uh,
I'm just gonna go ahead and get my drink on real quick, Mark, because I know it's gonna bother you if you don't figure out what the hell I'm drinking tonight. You see this?
I see
Probably
a
don't know
green
what's in
cup.
here, right? It's just a green cup, right? I'm gonna show you, Mark, that I am a real person. Unlike you know what I'm saying, who has these artifacts and shit in the background. You got leather football crown bags and shit. You got all kind of things that us regular folks don't have, you know what I'm saying? Us have nots don't have. So for the have
So
nots, I'm a pour one up one time for the have nots, you know what I'm saying? All I got is a little Kool-Aid squeeze, man. A little Kool-Aid squeeze, that's cherry flavor, for us have nots, sorry we can't all live the high lifestyle that you do, Mark. So
so because I'm cultured, I'm not real.
so I'm cultured, so I'm uncultured because I'm drinking Kool-Aid.
No, I'm going off of what your words are to me,
Look,
sir.
man, because you're cultured, you're not real. Look, man, some of us can't afford artifacts. Some of us can't even afford to go to a place to get them. So, yes, that
Um,
you're not a real person. I mean, Chris, do you have any artifacts? You have any African, like genuine African artifacts in your apartment?
I actually do. Yeah, I got some shit from Thailand, so I'm a very cultured person, as I'm sure you probably picked up. So
see,
yeah, I got some shit, man. I got some shit.
appreciate it. See, that's what I'm talking
I'm
about.
sitting on a show with two non-regular people is what. See, that's why it's very important to have me here,
No, no,
to
oh,
speak to
so
the
no,
people,
you was just proving wrong.
to
I'm
speak to the
pretty
people.
sure. I'm pretty sure the stamps in your passport would stand up to mine. I'm pretty sure
What stamps and what passport,
the
man?
stamps inside. I'm not speaking any other language. I'm speaking English.
Look,
Like I don't know what else to
look.
say.
I may have been forced to go some places, work wise, that weren't exactly luxurious or glorious places. They just send you somewhere and you got to do a job and then you come back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't. I just have a blanket in the back. I got a couch as a lamp. You know what I
Mm.
mean? I guess the most luxurious thing I have in my house is a PS5, which y'all all seen, a couple weeks ago. But,
Hey man, listen.
Mm.
Let you talk. See, look at him. He's speaking down on the people of the world. Like,
Flexing on us. Okay.
yeah, I know,
that's
right?
it. I had to sell my soul to get it. You know what I'm saying? I got a
Yeah.
PS5. That's it, man.
Really, you had to sell your soul to get it? Didn't you get it on the internet the first night? Like, what are you talking about? You had to
See,
sell.
now you're doing too much, Mark. Now people are gonna come looking for me and be like, "How did he get it on the first night? How did he?" Oh man, hey man, everybody that had to wait until today to get theirs, now you got them looking for me, Mark. Thanks a lot. I
Hey man,
appreciate you.
hey, Vegas ain't about shit. They ain't gonna do nothing out there.
Here we go, man. Hey, we turn this shit into a no-fly zone, Mark. You can't come out here. You can't come out here. Hey,
I wish somebody would try to stop me.
can't come out here, Mark. Go ahead. Talk some more about these Vegas people, man.
All right. Anyway, man, let's get into it, dog. Appreciate you, Sean. Christopher, do you mind if I call you Chris?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. Only my mom calls me Christopher, to be honest. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Where are you originally from, sir?
So I grew up in Birmingham, England, for 16 years. So that's the original Birmingham, not Birmingham, Alabama. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
born
yeah,
in England, man.
I guess
Yeah,
it's,
man.
it's got subtle differences between the two.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Okay. Um, what's your background in sports?
So basketball, I used to play basketball when I was a kid. I actually played for the England basketball team. So I was decently high level when I was a kid, but as you get older, you get injuries, things happen. So not quite there anymore, but like mixed martial arts I really got into. I did some writing for a website, a mixed martial arts website. So that's like my kind of main thing now, I guess.
Okay.
What are you going to, I know you're going to school currently. What do you what are your ambitions? What is your major? What are you going to school for right now?
Journalism and media studies. So I'm sure you can imagine I'm trying to be a sports journalist. That would be ideal. Maybe end up on ESPN debating Stephen A. Smith or something like that, you know?
So you using us as a stepping stone. I see. I see.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Listen.
Hey, make sure you reach back down, you know what I'm saying? Come snatch us up,
Yeah.
bring us with you. You know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Or else Las Vegas is gonna be a no-fly zone for you too as well.
I want you to know. I want you to know right now. I'm a crab. If you get out the barrel, I'm getting out the barrel. That's just how that works.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
That's just how that works. I just want you to know that. So, but anyway, that's what's up, man. So everyone out there, as you know, we got the British Kratos with us. So let it be known. That's what's up. Um, you say you don't play that game, but you seem like the type of fella, or maybe it's just your voice that sounds like that. You seem like the type of fella that you may know this guy from Stargate, the TV show.
Oh shit, I know exactly who you talk about too, dog.
That's who it is.
That's funny as hell, man.
Like you ever watch Stargate?
I don't know what you guys are talking about, man. This is some nerdy shit right now, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
Yo, this is funny, man. Hey, look, man, I'll tell you this much, man. The only thing I know this dude does is like go to school and watch sports, specifically basketball and everything dealing with fighting.
Yeah,
and he listens to a lot of music, man. He listens to a lot of music.
Okay.
Speaking of which, I'm just gonna add this in there real quick. NBA 2K, man. You see, they got your boy. They got Dave and Stormzy on NBA 2K.
Yeah, man. I heard a lot of British rappers. I heard I don't know if you heard of Jay Huss, but I heard Jay Huss's voice and I was like, oh shit.
I didn't
and then
know
I heard
who he was until I
Stormzy.
looked to see.
Yeah, man.
I've been playing 2K21, and I'm like, yo, I just put Ricky, who was on the show what is that, 2 weeks ago, just put him on to some other British rappers about over a month ago, and he liked them, you know, and yeah, it's just coincidental, you know, now that 2K21 is out and some of those guys are now on the game, man. It's dope to hear them reach out to them out there because they're dope artists, and man, it's good to see them getting some shine, man.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. It's good to see the British culture spreading. It's great, man.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's up, man. The fact that Kratos called me a nerd, my life's complete, so I feel good. But anyway, man, let's get into it, Doug. So recently, just over this past weekend, there was a fight between Errol Spence and Danny Garcia. Danny Garcia being a Philadelphia local, a lot of people in my area were rooting for him. But Errol Spence won the day. I unfortunately did not catch this fight. I planned on catching it on the back end. Had basically, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had family time to spend. And well, I just never did that. So I'm gonna let you take this one away, Shawn. And Shawn and Chris, I'm gonna let you guys take this one on. And
yeah, so like I said, I was working overtime. I said this to you off air. I was working overtime Saturday night, so I did catch most of it. I filled in, like I said, I filled in the blanks the next day, and I watched this fight, and obviously you guys know Errol Spence won the fight. I didn't think the fight was very close. I was actually kind of I wasn't sure what to expect from Errol Spence after the accident. This being his first fight after the accident, a lot of people were a little wary. A friend of mine, Jay, you're familiar with Jay, Mark, Jay Carter. So he, I know he's really into boxing, and he was mentioning, just watching training videos and things like that. That hey man, they weren't. He felt like something was off with Errol Spence, and he was kind of concerned. He did believe that Danny was going to lose, but he felt a certain level of concern with what he saw in a video, and obviously he's not the only person. After watching this fight, I felt like there was something off about him. To me, even though he won the fight handedly, which was sort of expected, um, he seemed a little not skittish, a little, I don't know, skittish, jumpy, whatever you want to call it. It just looked like bad nerves. And he also looked like he wasn't fighting with the same level of confidence that he fought with prior to the accident. I don't know what it was, but to me, even though he won the fight handedly, I felt like he is not the same guy that he was. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I can't tell you why, but that's what I saw when I saw the fight. Chris, do you have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think the reason you saw something different in him is just because he was coming back from the accident. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he was a little hesitant. I mean, maybe he was having some doubts in himself, but I mean, honestly, I thought he looked great. He dominated the fight.
Yeah, he did.
I was disappointed, honestly, in what I saw because I was expecting more from Danny Garcia. Yeah, I was expecting more, considering Danny Garcia, he's lost two fights. Well, he's lost 3 now, but in the 2 fights that he lost against Thurman, and he lost to Shawn Porter as well, they were just very close fights. And then he goes up against Errol Spence, and he basically got blown out, to be honest. So I mean, I was disappointed. I mean, obviously, he was, they hyped up the fight, and that's what they have to do as promoters, obviously. But it at the end of the day, it was just a bit of a mismatch, to be honest.
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, you mentioned the records, but I'm also a person that believes when it comes to fighting in any way, shape, or form or fashion, that styles make fights. Sometimes, it's not about who has the most wins, most losses, most knockouts. It's just a style thing. And I felt like Danny Garcia's style of fighting was not going to match up with what Errol Spence brings, and that's why I was under the impression that this was. I thought it was actually. I'm like you though. I still expected it to be closer. I thought it was a good fight because if I felt before the fight that if Errol Spence is off by a little bit, that should make for an interesting fight with Danny Garcia, and that didn't turn out to be the case. So yes, slightly disappointed that it wasn't more of a closer fight, but it was good. All in all, it was good to see Errol Spence back in the ring. It was good to see him have a good fight. And like you were saying, you said that maybe it was just him because of him coming back from the accident. It was his first fight. Naturally, he'll have some nerves. My question to you is, from what you saw, because from what I saw, I don't know if this is something that's going to carry on to the next fight. To me, it didn't feel like it was just, hey, I'm nervous for my first fight back. That's what it didn't feel that way to me. But how did you, do you think this is something that's going to carry on to the next fight that he has? Or do you think he will regain his confidence that he had from prior to the accident?
I think it depends which fight he gets next, because, if he gets Pacquiao, for example, I mean, I think he's going to be more confident against Pacquiao because of the fact that because I feel like against Danny Garcia, he thought he was going to win as well. But against Pacquiao, I think he'll probably think the same thing. Whereas, if we get the fight, I mean, we all know the fight that has to happen, right? It's him and Terence Crawford. That has to happen. So if he fights Terence Crawford, you might see nerves. I mean, that's why we have to see that fight, because we have to see who the guy is. Like, is one of them going to get nervous? Is one of them going to step up and just, destroy the other guy? Like, there's a lot of questions with that fight, but I think it all depends what Errol Spence, what fight he gets, basically.
Okay, and I know you mentioned Crawford's name, and you said that's the fight.
Hmm.
We all know how this works in boxing, man. How long do you think the fans are gonna have to wait before we get to see Crawford and Spence?
Well, gosh, man. Well, I mean, you saw how long Mayweather and Pacquiao
Yeah,
took. I mean,
exactly.
but I mean, I don't know. Do you put them? Yeah, I think you could put them on that same level. Honestly, I mean, that fight took forever. So this one, it's just this is what I hate about boxing, man. It's just all the politics, and because MMA, for example, you see the best fight the best for the most part. You do see
Yeah,
that, but with boxing, it's just, oh man, it's just there's just too much that just goes into it. I mean, it's like with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, that they're saying, yeah, that's done, but I still have my doubts with that as well, man, because we we as boxing fans, we never seem to get the fight that we want. But trust me, like Spence and Crawford, it just has to happen, man.
yeah,
It's the only, because if Spence gets someone like Garcia, a high level guy like Garcia, and he takes him like, not take him out, but he makes the fight as one sided as it was. It's just at that point, it's just like, okay, I don't care about seeing you against any other challengers. I just want to see
yeah,
you fight the top guy like Crawford. So that's
yeah.
it, man.
So this is, but like most times in boxing, what they'll do is, which I absolutely despise too, is they'll start hyping the fight, which they've already started. If you notice, if you're on social media, if
Mhm.
you're paying attention, they're hyping a fight between uh, Crawford and Spence. But what did we just watch? We watched them fight Garcia. They've been hyping the Spence and Crawford possible matchup for a while now, and it's ramping up now. So you know what that means in boxing terms. We're probably going to see them both fight twice before we get there. You know what I mean? It's like they want to hype it and drag along the hype for
Mhm.
as long as they can, to where you feel like, yo, if I miss this fight, they might never fight again. You know what I mean? They drag it on to that point, and I feel like, yeah, it is the fight. Yes, you're right. This is the only thing that should be happening next. There's nothing really out there. The fact that you even have to mention Pacquiao is a problem to me. That's not a fight that I want to see.
No,
I
no.
don't want to see Errol Spence fight Pacquiao, but I'm sure that's what we're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's what we're gonna get before we get a Crawford fight. So like, I mean, it is what it is. Boxing
Well,
is always gonna have this kind of BS going on, but I don't know, man. I just personally, I'm not going to be holding my breath waiting for the Crawford fight to happen. Even if I hear whispers, I'm not even gonna let myself get excited about it, because I just know that this is boxing and this is what they do.
well, is Pacquiao a Bob Arm fighter or a uh Pacquiao is under Bob Arm, correct?
He usually is, yeah.
Yes,
Hmm.
Yeah.
yes, that's the reason why the Floyd fight took forever.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why the Floyd fight
Yes,
took.
it is. And well, because there's an article out that says Bob Arm, from Bob Arm, Errol Spence Jr. is hiding behind Al Heyman. He doesn't want Crawford. Um, so
See,
yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
and that's a good point to bring up. And the reason why I'm kind of sighing about it is because Bob Arum is also the same person that said that Floyd was running. Pacquiao never said. Pacquiao wasn't the person behind that. That was Bob Arum. Like, Bob Arum's going to say whatever he needs to say to try to get the to try to bait the other fighter into a purse that they don't want to agree to. And that's what he's trying to do, man. You know, he's trying to make sure that his guy gets the amount of money that he thinks his guy should get. You know, it's all tactics, it's all politics. So, in just because he's saying that does not mean that he won't sit there and set up the Pacquiao fight.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See, yeah, because here's the thing, like, because it's interesting that Bob Arm would say that. because Arm says it really hurts the sport that Spence wouldn't bring up Crawford's name Saturday night. Um, but interestingly enough, Crawford by comparison hasn't appeared to say anything about Spence either. Um, because after knocking out Kell Brooks in November, he didn't demand a Spence fight either as his next opponent, and he listed Spence amongst others, including welterweight champ Manny Pacquiao, which I'm pretty sure Bob Arum would rather see Crawford versus Pacquiao because they're both his fighters. So that's his
He
like
getting
that.
bread
That
regardless.
that's
Yeah.
it. No, that's all his bread. He ain't splitting it with any other promotional team, and that's generally kind of how these guys like to do it. They like to keep their fights in house, which is why the sport of boxing has become so watered down as it is today, because basically they try to have it to where their fighters are only fighting each other these days. Um, and the money doesn't get split anywhere else. So,
Yeah. And
um,
like you said, but now if they have opportunity for big money, but it's gonna be at the cost of having to split, that's when they drag out the promotions. That's when they do all they can. That's when they do all that stuff because it has nothing to do with it has everything to do with waiting it out for the projections for the
mhm.
pay-per-view for the pay-per-view money to reach a certain number. Once those projections reach a number that they feel comfortable with having a 50-50 split on, then that's when they say, okay, good. We think we can make 100 mil off this. Okay, now we're gonna do a fight. It's not even about it's about whether or not they're gonna hit that number, that magical number that they're looking for the pay-per-view money.
Yeah, but it's also so with Bob Arum, I think he's just trying to build up Crawford as well. If he gives him the Pacquiao fight, everybody knows who Pacquiao is. So obviously, if he goes out there, beats a name like Pacquiao, then his name gets bigger, and then eventually he can get more money out of it, can't he?
Well, let me ask you this, Chris. This is specifically to you. What is a name like Pacquiao worth today in
Hmm,
2020? Like,
that's a good question.
Still a lot, man. Pacquiao's a very popular fighter. I mean,
yeah,
obviously in the Philippines, but like he's just, I mean, he's a big name in boxing in general, isn't he?
yeah, a big name in boxing versus, but like those in the know are those that are like, like yourself. Like, what is he worth to you? Like, who's Pacquiao today to you? And like if against the up and coming boxer, are you still holding the same weight? If some basically, if a boxer was to knock out Pacquiao today in the third round, are you like, oh, that's crazy, that's good stuff? He knocked out Pacquiao, or is it like, okay,
Well,
cool?
it's. I mean, the fact that he beat Keith Thurman in his last fight, that was like. Now, granted, it was Keith Thurman coming off of a bad shoulder injury,
Mm-hmm.
but still, it was still like he beat Keith Thurman under. Keith Thurman was the guy that everyone was afraid of. He held what was it, the WBO title at the time, and then
Mm-hmm.
Pacquiao just comes in there, drops him in what was it, the first round, and then just beats him up from there. So, I mean, the fact that he did that kind of brings his name back up to not quite what he used to be, but it still holds weight.
Okay. And that's fair. That's fair. That's fair enough. So it's still, it's not Pacquiao of old, but it still holds weight,
Mm-hmm.
and that's fair. So yeah, I can certainly accept that. But as far as like me personally, I'm not taking much stock into that. If Crawford fighting Pacquiao, in my opinion, there is no upside for Crawford to fight Pacquiao. There's no upside for either parties to fight Pacquiao. There's only a potential downside, in my opinion, which is like if you lose, you lost to an aging fighter versus um versus if you win, in my opinion, it's like, okay, you beat a guy who's on the downturn of his career. So
You know what? I'll compare this to the way it was when when B Hop was like 42, 43. Bernard Hopkins was still capable of beating people. He had a name, maybe not as big a name as Pacquiao, but it was definitely a lose lose if you were up and coming fighter. It's like, yo, man, if you beat B Hop, I mean, you'll get some type of respect, but it's not going to up the amount of money that you'll be able to make. You'll just get respect from the diehard boxing fans or the people that are really into boxing. But outside of that, like, it won't mean anything in boxing circles. You can't go to a promoter after that and be like, yo, I want some bread. I want this fight. You can't pick your fights after that. But then if you lose to Bernard Hopkins, once again, like you said, you're losing to an aging fighter. And I've seen it happen with some of these fighters that end up fighting Bernard Hopkins towards the, I don't even know if I can say towards the end of his career. Because, I mean, is he still boxing? Like, I don't know what's going on with Bernard Hopkins, but you get my point, man.
yeah,
Over 40 and he could beat you.
He retired a while ago.
I know I'm making a joke, but he didn't. He's another guy who didn't want to retire.
Right.
Like 42, he wasn't even close to retiring yet. But either way, he was fighting people at that time, and if you were an up and coming fighter, there was no point of you even going to see him.
No.
So I mean, Pacquiao's not quite there yet, but I feel you, Mark. For these two particular people, no, you are the cream of the crop as of right now. A Pacquiao fight would only be for the money, not for the clout.
Right. Yeah, I don't think it points to serve you in any other way, form, or that.
That's it.
But yeah, speaking of clout chasing, I just thought of this off the top of my head. Floyd Mayweather is taking a fight against Jake Paul, man.
God, man, here we go. We gotta talk about this.
Do we have to talk about this?
We're already here. He done brought it up, so we gotta talk about this.
Listen, I want to talk about this because I basically want to talk about, like, yo, how the mighty has fallen. Like, you can say whatever you want. Like, let me ask you this. I guess I'll pose this question to you guys this way. Do you think this is a play for relevancy by Floyd Mayweather, or does he need the money, or is he trying to avenge Nate Robinson? Like, what? Like,
avenge Nate Robinson?
Yo, no, you didn't know about his tweet to Nate Robinson?
Oh no, I saw his tweet.
Okay.
The tweet. I know what you're talking about, man.
Well,
I'm just. Mayweather's been the most supportive person.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. Like, is this, like, what point is he trying to prove? And while you answer that question, I'm going to pull up his tweet for those that may have not seen his tweet. But please, both of you, answer me this question. Whichever one of you want to go first, feel free. But, like, what is the objective here for Floyd Mayweather to fight Jake Paul? Go ahead.
It's Logan Paul that he's fighting.
He's fighting the brother.
He's fighting the older brother. I think he's the older brother.
Yeah, he is.
Oh, he's not even fighting Jake. He's fighting Logan.
Yeah, he's fighting Logan now.
But Jake was the one that knocked out Nate.
Yeah.
But there goes your whole avenging.
Like, I'm confused. Like, what's the point? So here we go. Go ahead. Please.
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna fucking get into this then. Fine. Okay, so, like, come on, man. We already knew. Like, I don't even know why you're questioning this, Mark. Mayweather has let you know from the jump what he was about. Money, Mayweather, the money team. Everything he does is about money, man. Mark, there is now, granted, he did at one point, it was about his record as well. But if there was a way that he could make money and keep his record clean, which obviously it's in the best interest of him making money, An undefeated fighter is going to get more money because people want to watch him lose for the first time. So I don't even know if his undefeated record has anything to do with him wanting to be the greatest. He might have just wanted money. I don't know, but he's been very clear about wanting money. Now, the second that all doubt went out the window was when he took the Conor McGregor fight. Okay, that was it. He fought Conor McGregor. Now he's fighting Logan Paul. Come on, Mark. I wouldn't even be surprised if they don't already have a contract set up to where if he beats Logan Paul, Jake got to come avenge his brother. Like I'm just saying, Mark. I don't know how far the side shows are going to go, but if Floyd Mayweather is involved in it, you better believe there's going to be some form of money happening. Mayweather wouldn't agree to this shit unless somebody had already told him how much money he was going to get for this shit.
Wait, hold up, Shawn, man. You can't put Conor McGregor and Logan Paul in the same sentence, man. Conor McGregor's an actual fighter.
It's
like,
not the same
man.
sentence, but what I'm saying is this slippery, like you can't say, how did he get here? That halfway down the slope was going to fight Conor McGregor. Now that's why he's here. Because he's still going down that slope. Like,
but kind of no, because I wouldn't even say down the slope was fighting Conor McGregor, because that Conor McGregor was the tops of the UFC.
Let me explain this
and
then
so
in a
was
better
Floyd.
way.
So like
it was a side show fight because the intrigue about it wasn't, hey, who's better, UFC fighter or a boxer? Who's better, Conor McGregor or Floyd? Can Conor McGregor knock Floyd out? No, this shit was about just Floyd talking shit to Conor talking shit to Floyd, people hating Floyd and people hating Conor. That's what it was about. People don't like these fucking Logan Paul, these Paul brothers. They don't like these motherfuckers. They don't like them. They don't like Floyd. You know, they're going to go and talk their trash back and forth to each other, and they're going to hype up a fight. Like, the Conor McGregor thing, although he was at the top of what he does, the fact of the matter is Floyd Mayweather stepped into a realm to where he fought somebody that is not a boxer on a boxing stage. Okay? That was a sideshow. Yes, it's not as low as this. It's definitely not as low as this. This is the lowest of the low, Mark. But am I too shocked? No. If somebody showed me numbers right now of projected money for it, I wouldn't be shocked. Now, if you told me that Floyd only sees to make 10 million from this, then I would be seriously shocked. You know,
that's all. Dog, if he makes more than 40, I'll be shocked. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna really tune into this.
I honestly think that he's going to make at least 50.
Okay.
And the only reason why I see this happening is because you've seen what I believe they're going to take what they saw with the Tyson fight. That was charity. That's the thing. Is this going to be charity?
Exhibition. It's an exhibition, I think.
It's an exhibition fight. Okay. It's an exhibition fight. I'm sure he saw the way that they handled that. They're going to set up a whole card. It ain't just going to be about them two. It's going to be a whole card the way that this Tyson shit was, and then they're going to try to promote it. I'm just predicting that they're going to try to promote it in the same way. This isn't going to be like him versus Conor where it promotes itself. You know what I'm saying? They're going to put a whole card together. He's doing his own promotion. He's seeing all his money. He's going to make sure that he gets like 90% of the money. And a guy like Logan Paul, only thing he wants is the ability to make the money that he's going to make, which is going to be more money than he's ever made boxing. And then he's going to be able to take that newfound celebrity, even though they're already known to the younger generation of the world. Now his face is going to be everywhere. He's like Logan Paul. It's a money move for him. He's thinking endorsements. He's thinking all this other stuff, man. Like, Floyd can take 90% of the purse, and it won't be a problem.
Okay.
Like, he's gonna get 50 mil at least, Mark.
Okay. Chris, you have any thoughts beyond this?
Yeah, I mean, it's business, man. It's business. You know, Logan Paul's gonna if Floyd tells him he has to take a dive, like that last fucking fight that Floyd what was that fight that Floyd had against
The
that like was a Japanese guy or
yeah,
whatever.
Dude, man, that shit was terrible.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
forgot about that fight, Mark.
Yeah.
I didn't forget.
That was terrible, man. This is what Floyd is on right now.
But but also the results of that it wasn't very good. He got paid very well up front. Like he got paid very well up front, but like as far as like viewership, like the results weren't great. Like people weren't tuning in to watch a sideshow of that
Floyd
magnitude.
doesn't care as long as he gets paid.
But
what I'm telling you is he wouldn't have agreed to this unless somebody already gave him a number.
But this is my my question is, does he not care for his legacy at all?
His legacy in boxing is already cemented. In his eyes, his record is what his boxing legacy is. So everything else that he's doing after the fact right now, it doesn't count against his legacy.
I mean, yeah, I get it. I get the sentiment that he has.
I mean, we might not see it that way. Other people might not see it that way. But to Floyd, this, like I said, this is sideshow stuff.
Right.
It's smart though, isn't it? It's smart. He's getting paid good for it, and he's facing these guys that don't have a chance of beating him. So
Mark, you know what this is the equivalent of? Man, this is the equivalent of going TDY in maintenance, man. He gets to go do a quarter of what his actual job is. You know, he gets to go there, put about a quarter of the effort in, and he gets to get paid for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, he's on vacation. How hard do you think he's training for Logan Paul right now?
But listen, I don't know.
I'm saying he gets to slack off, kind of relax, talk a little trash, make a little money, yada yada, go back to chilling. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is for him. This is a TDY.
I hate this for it.
Nobody likes this.
But that's my point. Like nobody's like, yo, this is gonna be nuts. Like everybody's like, are you serious, bro? Like this is what's happening.
Floyd Mayweather turned into Butterbean, man.
Like this is the ridiculous.
I'm saying though, like
nah, man, this ain't it. But if you guys are done, I'm going to share the tweet from Floyd Mayweather to Nate Robinson. So here's the tweet from Floyd Mayweather to Nate Robinson. Nate, I'm proud of you, and I will always stand behind all my brothers. I will never kick my brother when he's down. It's okay for people to voice their opinions on social media, but no black athlete or black entertainer, especially black NBA players, should make a mockery out of you. We are supposed to all stand with each other through the good, bad, and the ugly. I'm here to uplift you and let you know we all love you and congratulate you for just making an effort. So, listen, man. I will say this. I appreciate Floyd sending out this tweet because after that loss, Nate needed a hug.
he needed something.
Yeah, like
melon salts. I don't know what he needed, but he needed hugs will do, I guess.
Nate needed a hug. No, dog. Like, yo, I don't know what I would do with myself if I lost like that, dog. Like, I don't know what I would do if I was in a boxing match and I tried to turn that shit into a UFC fight and then I got punched in the face and knocked out. Like, I don't know what I would do, dog. Like, because we watched Nate try to spear Jake Paul, right? Like,
but man, I don't know what he was doing, man.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah,
I will say this. I can tell you what I would be on, Mark. Call me petty, but I would have to shoot the fade of anybody that has something to say to me on site. Like, I guess online you'll be safe. Say something to me in person. We shooting the fade right here.
Guess what? If he said that to anybody right now, they'd be like, "Bet, what you trying to do?" Like they be taking their shit off. He'd be
Hey,
writing.
I'll eat a lawsuit, but I gotta get a dub somewhere, Mark.
Yo,
Like I
yo,
can't let the last visual of me fighting be
yo,
that.
you take that loss. No, like your words are empty. Nobody is scared of you, dog.
I will have my respect, okay, Mark.
No,
I will
you
have
won't.
my respect, and if
No,
they
you
don't
won't.
give it to me after that, I have to fight until I get it back,
Yo,
Mark.
Nate.
They're gonna
Yo,
be like, man, he's wilding. Did he just beat that dude up in the Albertsons?
yo,
Like,
nah,
hell yeah,
dog.
that motherfucker talks slick to me.
In
Nah, dog.
Albertsons.
Yeah, they're gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna be a meme every week because they're gonna be like, man. I mean, I ain't see you have that same energy for Jake Paul. You know what I'm saying? Like,
No,
they're gonna be memeing me every week. But guess what? I'm cleaning motherfuckers up
I'm gonna tell you.
until they leave me alone.
I'm gonna tell you
Say
what.
that shit behind my back.
Watching that fight, I literally, in the back of my head, all that was playing, like, I literally just could hear Kevin Hart's skit about his dad.
Nah, man.
Like, he was
Is
like,
that an octopus?
yeah,
They jumping.
yeah, they jumping me out here. Like, like that's all I can think about. Like, yeah, dad, it was 8 people. Like, it was an octopus. Like, what are you talking about? Like, like that's all I could think about. Like, cause that loss was so ridiculous, bro. But
Yeah.
apparently Floyd wants to get on his Rocky 4 tip and go avenge Apollo Creed. So it is what it is. With that being said,
Yeah.
I don't have anything else for boxing. Do you guys, Chris? You have anything you wanted to talk about?
Well, just shout out to Anthony Joshua, man. Anthony Joshua's fighting this weekend against Pulev, defending his title in England, in London. So
Okay.
yeah, just want to shout him out, but that's about it. He should win.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he should. I want to ask you.
I've said that before.
I
Never
want.
mind.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what did happen with Anthony Joshua in his loss?
Well, I don't think they've came out with what actually happened to him. Or no, they did. Was it like a panic attack or something? Or I honestly, I don't know, man. I'd have to
It was
like
a panic
research
attack.
it, but it was
I can
something,
see it.
yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
looked like.
Yeah, it was something like that.
That boy, that fat Mexican beat his butt.
Andy Ruiz, yeah.
Yeah, and
Dog.
Andy destroyed him. And I promise you, I've 1,000% believe that Andy would have beat him again had Andy taken the rematch
serious.
seriously at all. Like, but Andy was feeling the fact that he was the champion, and he got drunk off of being famous. I mean,
Look, let's keep it a buck, dog. If I'm Andy Ruiz and you know what I'm saying, I was in the drive-thru at the Burger King picking up a Whopper, and they called me to fill in for this fight real quick, and I'm like, I guess I'll fight this guy, you know, and then I actually beat him when I wasn't supposed to, and I'm just like famous, like. Andy said, man, this is my 15 minutes, and I'm not even going to try to make it 20. But I can't blame him for taking that approach. You know what I mean? It is. He's like, yo, I'll fall right back into obscurity, but I already got my bag. I got endorsements. He probably got some endorsement deals out of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, nah, man, I'm set now. You know what I'm saying? I'm set pretty good, you know? So, I mean, he got 2 fights out of it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, shout out to Andy Ruiz, man. I mean, but Mark, I feel you. I wish we would have seen a prepared Andy Ruiz. I'm kind of, even though I wish I would have seen it, I'm kind of glad we didn't, because the heavyweight division needs Anthony Joshua to be Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I think Wilder is still making excuses as we speak right now. So,
yeah. Listen, yeah.
I'm just saying. So we need something in the heavyweight division, man.
You're right. Listen, it's a mess up there. It's a mess in boxing all the way around, but it's especially a mess in what used to be the flagship of boxing, which was the heavyweight division. So uh, I thought that maybe we would have those days back when it came to Anthony Joshua and Wilder, but no, I've always known that Wilder was a fraud. Well, I shouldn't say a fraud. Wilder, because he wasn't a fraud. He was very limited in skill, not a fraud though. But he was. I've always known that he was very limited in his skills. But Anthony Joshua, him losing to Ruiz like that was a slap in the face to me and a surprise. Like, because I could have sworn he was a better boxer than that, and it just that's not what I saw. But anyway, um, hopefully Anthony Joshua wins, and hopefully they do come, and hopefully we do see one, if not all three, of these combinations of fights of Anthony Joshua versus Fury, Fury versus Wild. Well, actually, we already seen Fury versus Wilder twice. So I don't need to see it a third time.
But
But
Joshua versus Wilder.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So hopefully we do get that because those are the type of fights that boxing really, really does need. Um, so anyway, let's move on, man. So let's get into I guess let's get into basketball. Um, what now? There were some things you wanted to address, Sean. What were they? Uh,
Oh man. You know what? Let's start out with Harden, man, because that's where I want to go with this.
mhm.
James Harden, you know, he really wants to be traded really badly. When he saw everybody else kind of getting traded and getting what they wanted, Russ is in Washington. People are leaving. I guess he's feeling a little bit bitter about it. He's not really getting along with the organization. He decided he wanted to, I don't know, just not show up for the first day of practice. And it's been brought to people's attention, that, hey, man, these guys should have been quarantining leading up to the first day of practice so that they could be there for the start of the season and the preseason. And instead, this dude is posting on social media every night at a different strip club, basically. You know what I mean? Like, granted, we all are nobody's surprised by Harden being seen in a strip club by now. No. But at the same time, like, this obviously is a blatant, deliberate move for him to show his discontent with the organization in hopes that it might push them a little bit to trade him and get him out of there a little bit faster. My issue with that is once you start doing things like this, it makes it harder for people to trade you, And then on top of that, let's say Houston doesn't trade you. Season starts. Now you're here and you got to look your teammates in the eyes. These same teammates, like, you're going to have to play with these guys. You eventually have to show up to work, man. And then now you're as somebody who was complaining about the culture in Houston, now you're creating a problem within the culture in Houston. Just because you want to throw a fit and you want to get your way and you want to get up out of there. So it's just everything about it is like people are using the words like, he's not acting like a professional. He should be more professional. Like, I'm always going to kind of side with players when it comes to them wanting to be in control of their situation. But this dude is basically acting like a 4-year-old, and I can't condone that, Mark. I'm not with it. I don't like it. He's actually screwing himself in the end. But at this point, for him to do all that stuff and then still be like, send me to Philly.
Yeah.
Mark, what do you think his chances are of ending up in Philly?
Listen,
after these stunts that he's been pulling.
I'm going to say this. I don't know what his chances are for ending up in Philly because I don't think his chances are very high if you are to take Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers' words at face value, I do not believe that his chances are very high. Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers, particularly Doc Rivers, has expressed that he would like to utilize the team that he has as is, meaning that he wanted to move forward with the core of Tobias, Simmons, and Embiid, particularly Simmons and Embiid. So, um, and the only way you get a player like Harden is if you're willing to give up one of those said players, which is Harden, Embiid. So I don't. Which is Simmons and Embiid. So I don't see how they land a Harden unless they're willing to give up 2 first-round picks and Tobias. But even then, I don't think that'll be enough, or that'll be the type of compensation that Houston would be looking for. So I don't think his chances of landing in Philly are very high, given the landscape. I don't. But more to your point of what you were actually asking me, I don't think his antics is affecting that decision at all. Um, his statistical numbers show like are just too alluring for any team to not want to take that on. And most teams know what this is. They know that what he's doing and why he's doing it. And I don't think that's going to deter them from picking him up because it's not like this is something that has shown to be in his character at any given point. Prior to this is something he's showing now because
Yeah.
he's disgusted with his situation, which is I find it a little ironic, a little weird rather, because the coach is going like it's a new coach, new GM, but you want to talk about culture in Houston. Well, the culture just changed. So why now do you want to leave Houston? Like so make like I'm confused about that because now it's a new day. So what's your rush there? But
Well, okay. So what I meant by him, his behavior affecting trade stuff, is if I'm a team that's interested in James Harden, every time he does something antic wise, I'm driving the price down.
but that's what
Is
I'm
it valid? No, but I'm gonna ask for a lesser price just because of it. Like even though my interest hasn't gone down,
but that's
I'm
what
still gonna ask for less. And what I'm saying is the process of negotiation is going to move slower.
But that's what I'm
Because
saying. Like Houston's not falling for that, and I don't
that's
think,
exactly
and I
so.
don't think, and I don't think any team is really going to try that with Houston because like all parties involved know what it is, and we're talking about James Harden. Like the fact, I'm gonna say this: the fact that teams are willing to look over the fact that he has zero off the ball movement and that he's the epitome of a ball hog like says everything. His numbers put a it puts a blind spot over all his flaws within his NBA game. So it is
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like everybody will look over that and if they have the ability to jump up and grab him, they'll try. You know what I mean? It's just what it's not many teams that have that level of capital to be able to jump up and grab James Harden for something that Houston will find fair. Chris, do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I think with James Harden trying to get out of Houston, I mean, part of it's probably to do with the fact that he just doesn't see them going anywhere. I mean,
Right.
think like for example, do you guys see DeMarcus Cousins and John Wall? You know, they're not their healthy selves. They're, you
I was
know,
gonna say I don't even
full
see
potential anymore. So,
I
you
don't
know what I
think
mean?
they make it through the season.
Exactly. So
But
like, yeah.
but yeah, so but if that's the case, if that's what we're talking, like with James Harden, like, Doug, don't tell me that, like, I mean, don't talk that uh culture shit. Like, that's BS. That culture shit is BS because it, like, the GM, like I said, the GM and coaches in there no more. Like, you have a problem with the teammates around you, and just be like, yo, I think all my teammates are garbage. But that like say what you really feel. But that part of it is what you don't want to say because now that makes you look bad. But that is the truth of the matter.
Okay. I'll say this. My honest opinion on why he wants to leave is, um, yes, I believe he doesn't like I feel like he doesn't like the entire structure around him. He doesn't. I think he enjoyed his tenure under Daryl Morey. He enjoyed his tenure under D'Antoni. He enjoyed the green light that he had. I think he saw the changes and understood that no matter what happens, in some way, shape, or form, in some way, shape, or form, he's going to be asked to change his way of living, and the way that he's been going about playing is going to change in some way, and he didn't like that. He also looked at his teammates and said, "These ain't even guys that I wanted. Like, they didn't consult me when they went to go trade Russ for John Wall." You know what I mean? Like, he's just looking at the situation and being like, basically, this ain't my team anymore.
Well,
I don't have the freedom that I once had, and he can see that it's going to be gone to a certain extent. And the only thing that would have kept him there is, like, maybe he looked at his teammates and said, "You know what? We still have a chance to run this shit." He's looking around and say, "We don't got a chance to make a push for even the Western Conference Finals." So now he's like, "Yo, there's absolutely no reason for me to be here." So I'm sure obviously he's looking at Philly and he's saying that Doc Rivers there, Daryl Morey's there, they have the players. He's basically saying, look, he does not want to go through what Russ went through when everybody left. Not everybody, but you know what I'm saying. Um, but Billy Donovan got fired, if I'm not mistaken,
mhm.
and then I think, well, not and then, but not Billy Donovan, my bad. The coach that was before him got fired the next year. Freaking KD left. You know what I'm saying? He kind of just got left there, and it's just like, hey, make it work, brother. You know what I mean? Harden is clearly not. He's like, yo, I don't want to go through that. I'm better than that. He thinks highly of himself. He's like, nah, man, I'm only here to compete for championships. So he can see that situation in Houston ain't going to be that. He wants out. Like, granted, I just think maybe he could go about it differently. You know what I mean? Players are going to do what they do. Mark, do I think somebody's going to try very hard to pay him? If Tobias Harris can get the contract that he got, if somehow Tristan Thompson can get the contract he got, if Gordon Hayward can get the contract that he got, you better believe. Just short of going out and murdering somebody in secret like Marvin Harrison, it doesn't matter what Harden does. He's gonna get picked up by somebody.
Mm. Wow.
I don't know why I threw Marvin Harrison under the bus like that, but
that was the most random stray
didn't they
I've
catch
ever
that man with a bag full of money and shit? Did he rob a bank or something? Look, I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
You might want to redact that because
Erase that shit from the file. Yeah. Hey, man, you know what? I don't even know why I'm talking about a murderer like that. You know what I'm saying? It's probably not the smartest thing to do. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah, go ahead and erase that. Now, don't come looking for me.
Yeah, because I'm in Philly, bro. So like,
Hey.
like, you gotta relax.
Hey, my bad, dog, my bad.
Oh God, you gotta relax.
You know what I'm saying? You know what? That was selfish of me.
Yeah, you putting the hit out on me, dog. Like, that's wild.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um,
But yeah, That's enough for James Harden. Unless anybody else got something.
Um, no, I don't have
No.
nothing on James Harden about that, but I do want to bring up. I don't understand why anybody wants James Harden. Period. Like,
Mm.
what does it serve? Like him as a player today and the what he has shown so far. Why do you want him? Yes, he could score. Yes, he could get you to the playoffs, but you could get to the playoffs with any other combination of players. Like, there's a lot of combinations that you could get to the playoffs with. Basically, what I'm saying is you could put him with Kevin Durant. Basically, I don't see James Harden going getting a chip outside of being on the same team with LeBron James. That's the only
But
way I see him getting a chip is him being on the same team as LeBron James. And that is simply because LeBron James is malleable enough to take the ball, like take the focus off himself and let you run around with the ball if you want to. But
Yeah, he's already proven that, And I'll say this: that's the thing that every coach, everybody has a little bit of arrogance about themselves. Somebody says, "Hey, man, look at that guy over there, D'Antoni. Can you believe he couldn't make it work with James Harden, Russ, Chris Paul? Like, I never had that level of talent on my teams. You know what?
mm-hmm,
If you gave me that level of talent, I'd be able to win a championship." And this is I'm sure this is the thought process that a lot of these coaches have, especially the younger coaches that are like me and you talk about all the time. They have this level of belief in their systems, a little bit of arrogance.
mm-hmm,
um they're they just look at it, man. It's like, hey, if my question to you is, if you're not, maybe not Brad Stevens anymore, because the Kyrie and Gordon Hayward thing didn't work out, but if
mm-hmm,
you're if you're a coach like I'm not even gonna maybe I don't even want to use Steve Kerr as an example, but there's coaches out there that are considered to be good coaches that just never had a top three player on their squad. And if you're one of those coaches and you've had a certain level of success, you have to believe in your mind that you're a good enough coach that you can make some type of system work with James Harden. So it's that thought process that would cause any coach in the league to say, you know what? Whenever there's a talent out there that exists, that is on the market, that is that high, you have to go for it. You know what? Even if I can't figure it out today before I pick them up and get them on my team, you just go pick them up and you figure it out later. And
mm-hmm.
that's what's gonna happen. Somebody's gonna pick him up and say, "Look, man, we'll figure that shit out when he gets here."
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
but you're not going to figure that out. Like, how do you figure out? How do you
hey,
give me the answer? No, really. Like, Chris, I'm gonna pose this to you. I'm gonna pose this to you. What um because this will lead me into the next thing because you seem to have a problem with my guy Russ. All right, so we're going to use the example of the Sixers.
Right.
All right, how do the Sixers work with James Harden? Um, and I'll spot you Ben Simmons and Embiid are both still on the team. How does it work? Obviously, Tobias Harris. There's no way Tobias Harris is on that team with James Harden. So, how does it work?
Hey, trust me, I'm not taking the side of James Harden in this, man. I'm just like him and him and Russell Westbrook. I mean, it's just like we haven't seen it proven that they can actually make a team work around them. So it's just like I mean, look at certain players, right? There's certain players in the league: Russell Westbrook, James Harden. I'd put Carmelo Anthony in there. Dwight Howard, until he won the championship with the Lakers, he was in there. Paul George, probably in there as well. These guys just like they just don't make a team work when they're there. Something happens. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's their attitude. Maybe it's the fact that, especially with Russ. I mean, Russ even said he doesn't want to play with James Harden because he wants to dominate the ball.
No.
So does that style of basketball work?
See,
Yes.
you see how you want to play with the words that he said, because that's not what he said. He didn't say I don't want to play with James Harden because I want to dominate the ball. He said I don't want to. He said I would like to go back to where I was leading the offense. Like he said, I would like to go back to where I was back to my role of actually being a point guard. Like that's what he said. He didn't say I want to dominate the ball. That wasn't his words at all. He said I would like to be the point guard of the team.
Maybe I was paraphrasing.
Okay, that's what we're calling it. That's what
So
we're
I was
calling
doing.
but in all, it just for a little bit of
parody.
parity, I guess, or a little bit of clarity too, is technically, all right, a point guard does dominate the ball because that's how you that's how you execute being a floor general. You have to bring the ball up the court. That takes about 4 to 5 seconds. You set up the offense. You run a play. I mean, if you're actually being a point guard, if you look at the time on ball, the point guard should have the ball more than
I mean, obviously, but we're talking about like Rajon Rondo, one of the greater point guards ever, and in my opinion, easily within the top 10. He's within the top 5. I'm talking about as pure point guards.
Your personal is really ridiculous, but we'll get
No,
into that.
no, because understand what I'm looking for from a point guard. Like, I mean, obviously there has been much better scoring point guards and everything like that. But at the end of the day, with Rajon Rondo, I like, especially Rajon Rondo at the peak of his career, I could put him on any team and he will make that team better. Any team at all.
That's fair.
Like, he's going to make that team better. Like, you can't say that about a lot of point guards. You can't say that about point guards that you would put above him. So, like, that's why he is in my personal, because as the leader, he does indeed make the team better. So
fair enough. That's a pretty good explanation.
So
you know what I'm saying? He's still not in my top 5, but I mean, to each his own. That was a really good explanation. I ain't got nothing to say. Go ahead.
So listen, but like I was saying, like you look at Rajon Rondo, he might his time on ball might dominate, but he did not dominate the ball. He facilitated and made sure the ball moved, and he made sure he found the open guy, or he gave it to Paul Pierce to run the offense where it needed to be ran or whatever. Like, he was the floor general. He like, you know what I'm saying? He was the conductor of the orchestra. Like, he don't care if you have your solo, but he's going to direct you when it's time for you to have your solo. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it was. Yeah. Like, so and that's basically the type of player that I feel as though Russ would like to be. Like Russ, like we've seen it in the past where he moves in that way. It's just that they get down in these spots, or you have a teammate that's not doing what, and then Russ becomes like Russ, with that ultra competitive nature, takes it on himself to be like, well, you're not doing it, so now I got to do it. And then and then he excludes his teammates, which is his major flaw. Outside of the fact that like I when he that is his major flaw is when he does that, because when he does that, his basketball IQ goes out the window. Like he just starts forcing everything. But
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so um but but when he doesn't feel like he has to do it all himself, we've seen him do great things. So, and we've seen how his ball movement works, and we've seen how like I love Russ simply because of his energy. Dude doesn't stop like at
Mhm.
all. So like there's um there's a lot of things to like about Russ. There's also a lot of things to not like about Russ. I just feel as though like to bring that home for me, Harden with Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, one of them is not going to be involved in the offense at all. Like
Mhm.
that's just how that's going to happen. Like uh between like one of them is they're just going to be sitting around. More than likely it's going to end up being Ben Simmons. Because and Ben Simmons is going to end up being unhappy because Ben Simmons likes to have some level of facilitation, and we've seen it multiple times since Harden has become a starter. He will simply not allow that. So
Yeah.
he
Or
won't.
even if he allows you to, he's not going to participate. Go
Right.
ahead, have the ball. I'm gonna
Exactly.
stay right here.
Exactly. I'll
I
be
ain't
right here in the
moving.
same spot where you left me.
Yeah.
I'll be right here in the same spot where you left me whenever you're ready to pass the ball back to
Yeah.
me. So that's just simply not going to work. Um, but on the flip side of that, if I put Russ on that team, and mind you, I have to put out I have to put out the I guess
Disclaimer.
the disclaimer of Joel Embiid and Russ hating each other. So if you exclude the fact that Russ and Embiid hate each other, and so if I put Russ on that team with Embiid and Simmons, there's a much greater chance that they all have levels of thriving. We've seen Steven Adams. Was Steven Adams with just Russ. They was doing great. Like Steven Adams didn't start falling off until Paul George came around, and so but when it was just Steven Adams and Russ, like Russ made sure Steven Adams ate. Like you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like so we know that Russ knows how to find the center and make sure he eats. And then when it comes to Ben, like he's still we know that Russ is going to facilitate the rock, and he's going to be able to catch. He's going to be able to catch Ben slashing, and if Ben is slashing and he can't and he gets trapped, Ben is he's also a facilitator. He's going to find the next man to give the ball to, and he's going to find. So like basically, there is an avenue for it to work with Russ because of spacing, and the fact that Russ will make sure that Embiid eats. Is there an avenue for it to work with Harden outside of the fact that Harden's going to shoot and make shots?
I mean, no. I mean, no. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you on that. I mean, this. I mean, I want to get off the hard and shit. To be honest with you, um, no, it's not gonna work. But comparing the two, just to say this, like Russ, I want to talk about the Russ going playing with the Wizards and playing with Bradley Beal in that current team, and I personally believe that Russ, once again, he plays best when he has a chip on his shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
and he clearly had a chip on his shoulder after KD left, and everybody praised KD for leaving him there, and everybody kind of basically said that Russ was bringing him down. He has something to prove. Um, I believe that he still has something to prove now. He especially has something to prove because people were still whispering that Russ was the issue in Houston. The one thing that I'll point out is that uh, whenever Russ has played with another superstar, he is always somehow, even though they say he's a ball hog, he has somehow always allowed the other superstar to flourish.
Thank you.
Um, KD, people say that he was ball hogging during that time. KD won MVP. They went to the finals. There's a couple of things that happened. They barely missed the finals again when they went up 3-1 to Golden State and lost. That happened, and KD still put up. If you look at KD's best numbers, they came when he was playing with OKC with Russ. Fast forward to Paul George getting there. People act like this never happened just because of what Paul George did. Playoff P because of his
Don't call him that. Please don't call him that.
Because of his alter ego Playoff P. People have forgotten about this, but he was in the MVP. If I'm not mistaken, he finished second in MVP voting to Giannis. And then I think he finished either second or third in Defensive Player of the Year voting that year. Like, this is what Russ did and he did it in a way to where he had to fall back, and he became more of a facilitator than a primary shooting and scoring option. He also tried his damnedest to get Melo involved in the offense. I just think that the offense that was being run, or lack thereof, is the reason why Melo wasn't able to thrive in that situation. Turning Melo into a catch and shoot guy was the issue, not Russ. But once again, there's another scenario. Now, if you look at the Houston situation, they kind of toyed with, like, they didn't let Russ be the point guard. They didn't allow him to be.
Don't say they.
I'm saying they because it's D'Antoni and Harden.
No.
D'Antoni is the goddamn coach. He could tell, like Mark, me and you talked about it before the season. D'Antoni makes sure that the point guard is the focal point, and they have the green light. They could do what they want. He will allow the point guard to be ball dominant and let them make the decisions on the court and let them do that. What happened is he showed up there. I'm thinking that he's going to let Russ run up and down the court with the ball, and it happened like that for a little bit. Then you seen the power struggle. Then it would go back some games. It would go back to Harden being the guy carrying the ball up the court and doing all this stuff. And then it went back and forth. So yes, it initially starts with D'Antoni not clarifying or not enforcing whatever he wanted to happen within the offense. And then from there on out, it's just Harden making it difficult. I think part of the reason why is because Harden was making it difficult. I'm sure Harden was going to D'Antoni. I'm sure he was making it known that he needed the ball more or whatever it was. But the point is, he wasn't allowed to be. The only time you've seen a superstar's numbers go down with Russ, slightly, just to mention that, was when he was in Houston, and that was because they were taking the ball out of his hand. So I personally think that Bradley Beal is going to have a great year. He's a guy that's been playing great already all the way up until this point in his career, but he's been under the radar because he's been in Washington. And although, the people that really watch basketball know who he is, the world hopefully will get introduced to him, because I'm going to assume that they will get more primetime games just because Russ is there. And I believe in the East, the way that it's currently constructed, the East has like this top 6 teams, and then everything else just drops off after that. So I believe that they should be able to make the playoffs with Russell Westbrook on that team. So what I'm looking to see is Russ becoming a facilitator again, Russ's assist numbers to be very high, and I'm also looking to see that he's gonna go into this thing not looking to big himself up, but looking to big up Bradley Beal and get Bradley Beal's name out there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. Um, yeah. So, Chris, you have any follow up, any rebuttals to those statements?
No, I mean, I got no problems with Russell Westbrook, man. I mean, I wish him and James Harden, I wish them all the best. And you know, it just, I mean, he's in Washington now. He's got a lot of talent around him. I tell you what, that Rui Hachimura guy, he's a bad dude, man.
He's dope. I
That
like
guy
him.
is gonna that dude. So I'm interested to see what Russell's gonna do, man, with him, Bradley Beal. So I think they got some. I think they got some talent on that team, man. So I hope they do well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, definitely feel that way. And if you don't know, everyone, I am now a Washington Wizards fan because I've expressed before I don't have a team, but so I just follow my favorite player being Russ. So I'm unfortunately a Washington Wizards fan. Um,
Sorry to hear that, brother.
we'll see how that works out for us. Uh, but yeah, man.
I almost wore my West Unseld jersey today, man. I really should have.
Mm-mm-mm. Well, nah. Anyway.
I give it to you if you're looking for some Washington apparel. I just had to say, are you only gonna get a Brody jersey? Or are you gonna dabble and get a couple of Wizards players jerseys? What you gonna do, Mark?
um,
How does this work for you?
I'm going to get a Brody jersey. I have a Brody jersey from OKC. I don't have one from Houston. I'm going to get one now because I'm pretty sure I could get it for cheap. So
Mhm.
I'm gonna get a Brody jersey for Houston now, and
Mhm.
then I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna get a Brody jersey for Washington when he leaves. So so yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
how
you're
it
gonna
is.
have a full collection. Got you.
Yeah, I'm gonna end up. I'm For those that don't know, Brody has excellent shoes. Like he has excellent his sneakers. Some of his sneakers are really really stylish. Um, there's a OKC colorway that I
Oh, them
saw
joints are dope. Yeah.
and I want to get those, but that's just a little side conversation that I just fell into. Um, anyway, um, so anything else you guys want to talk about in basketball?
Well, real quick with the Washington Wizards, where do you guys think they finish in the East?
Uh, Mark, I'll
Finish
let you go
like
first.
all together?
Yeah, like playoff seed.
Oh, if the like being completely honest, Sixers, if Brooklyn remains healthy, Brooklyn is coming out of the East.
Yeah.
Um, and like basic, like understand that all these predictions is based on health. So Brooklyn remains healthy, they're coming out of the East. As of today, I would I would put the Sixers at 2 or 3. Flip flop. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put them at 3 because Boston just has, in my opinion, Boston just has the Sixers number, but they also have a new coach. So actually, I'm just gonna say 2 or 3, and you could flip flop Boston and Sixers any way you want. So I would say, if Washington's not done, 4 or 5.
Mm, yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at the bracket from this past season, and I'm looking at
Oh no, Miami is still there. So
hmm
yes, I'm looking at
And
Milwaukee.
Giannis as well, yeah,
Yeah,
Milwaukee.
I'm looking at Milwaukee. I'm looking at Indiana. I'm looking at Miami. I'm looking at Boston. I'm looking at Philly. I'm looking at Toronto.
They might not even make the playoffs, to be
And
honest.
but the other two teams were Brooklyn and Orlando. And to be honest with you, um, I don't see them being. I see them filling in that eighth seed
Yeah.
above Orlando.
Yeah, no.
Indiana's success, I honestly believe they have a great team, but they had some moving pieces. Uh, what's his name just went to Boston.
Let me flip that. I'm gonna
And
say
if
6 to 8.
Oladipo ends up leaving, then that leaves it up. But I think only if Oladipo leaves Indiana, then I think that their highest seed that Washington can finish is 7.
Yeah.
But I got them at 8.
Yeah, I'm gonna put them at 6 to 8. Simply because you just don't know who ends up playing who, and somebody knocks. You know what I mean? So they either go to I think the highest they could possibly get is 6, but yeah, 6 to 8 is somewhere where they will finish, in my opinion.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Like I said, I say 8, but I mean, it shouldn't take much to get there to the 8th seed. So that's where I got them. Chris, your prediction?
I'll give them 6. I'll give them 6.
Okay.
I think 6 is a good shout. Put Milwaukee above them, Boston, right. Miami, Brooklyn, and Philly. Yeah. So then underneath those 5, I'd say.
Yeah, so. I just nothing in me will ever allow me to believe in Milwaukee. Honestly,
I don't blame you.
I can't argue with that, man. Like I feel the same way. Like I just don't like. Everything's good when you got to play a team once. Right. The shit gets real when you got to play them in a 7-game series. And to be honest with you, I like looking at the East. I don't care what it looked like last year. I don't care that Miami beat up on Milwaukee. I don't care that they end up coming out the East. I still believe that Boston has the best team in the East. That's just where I'm at. Toronto is up there too. I feel like Toronto and Boston have the 2 best teams. I don't care what happens at the end of the regular season of who ends up.
I can't let you do that, because Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, it's Kevin Durant, and then the Brooklyn role players, that's exactly what they are, but they are role players. Basically, they were a team that didn't fit until you grab superstars, and you happen to grab possibly the greatest superstar.
This is what I'll say, Mark. I don't know if you remember what their season looked like before everything happened, because I remember the reason why D'Angelo Russell started becoming coveted is because of the season that they had there with all the young players there. D'Angelo Russell left; he went to the Warriors. The rest of the players there, they didn't do as good, but they did pretty close to it. They definitely still overperformed, right?
Right.
They were doing their thing. Kyrie got there and it messed up the chemistry. Okay. There's certain things about that roster that I just don't like. I do not like. Yes, you can say they're role players. You can say all these things. I believe that until they can show me that they can keep the role players involved in the offense, until KD and Kyrie can show me that, then I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to look at those guys like Spencer Dinwiddie and look at it and be like, yo, the production that they got out of him before all this shit is going to be the production that they're going to get out of him afterwards. So as of right now, the way that I see this Brooklyn Nets team is I see them as being the Oklahoma City Thunder after the year after Harden left.
Right.
Meaning before they filled out their bench and started pushing again. That's what this Brooklyn Nets team reminds me of. Granted, they are in the East, but I just like the East is definitely a little tougher than it was before when LeBron was there. Like they still, I just don't see them. I don't see them being better than. Okay, I'm not going to say I don't see them being better than Milwaukee. See, just like you, I can't bring myself to say that Milwaukee is just beatable.
Right.
But I can't see them beating Boston in the 7-game series. I can't see them beating. I don't see them beating Miami in a 7-game series. Toronto, I don't see them beating. Now, granted, that's different than regular season. Mark, regular season, these guys are going to bust some heads.
Let me put it like this, Doug.
I just don't feel like they're going to be one of the better teams in the East come playoff time.
Has Boston flipped that Kemba Walker contract yet?
No.
Then no. Then like
Dog, look.
they stuck. Like Kemba Walker
they still have a coach. They still have a better roster.
But Kemba Walker is definitely holding that team back.
That's great. Them being held back by Kemba Walker is still better than the Brooklyn Nets team to me in my eyes.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm not saying there's a big ass gap. I'm just saying until I have to see what Steve Nash is going to do coaching. I got to see if Kyrie is going to stay healthy for once in his life.
Well, I got to see if Kyrie's not going to be a cancer this year.
I don't need to see that. I just assume he's going to be. KD, I need to make sure that he's fully healthy.
Okay.
We just watched what happened to Clay.
Okay.
He came back, and before he even come back, he's done again. Look, we don't know. I just can't put Brooklyn up there yet, man. There's so much.
Well, this is with the assumption that they stay healthy.
Okay, fine. He's healthy. Still.
Okay.
I don't know about that, man. The best player in the East is Kevin Durant. Yeah. So
that's
true. I mean, if he's healthy, then
what? Okay, this is what I'm saying. KD, when he played in Golden State, system was perfectly tailor-made to where he could slide right in and he could do his thing. When he played in OKC, they basically he had a green light the same way Russ had a green light, but then he also, I'm not going to say he got the best of Russ being a facilitator, but it helped. I'm saying Kyrie is not Russ, and that Brooklyn Nets team, I don't know anything about Steve Nash. He could come in and be Steve Kerr. I don't know. But I'm going to assume that it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I mean. Like, so we're saying that we don't even know. Like, I've seen it too many times. We've seen Kyrie already go out, score 20-something, 27 a game, 25 a game, and it turns into nothing. We've seen teams that have two superstars go out and score and put up buckets and then not turn out to be what you want it to be.
Right.
And for as great as KD is, unless KD plans on taking the ball out of Kyrie's hands, unless KD plans on being the very vocal leader of that team, which he's never been before or never been asked to be, unless something like that is happening, then I just don't see how the chemistry works. I can see KD averaging 30 and Kyrie averaging 25 and them averaging 110 points a game, which ain't enough to win in this league.
Okay. All right. Well, I have a quick question for you. Okay. And this is very quick. So, but do you think it's a happy coincidence, or do you think it's a deliberate action of players of moving to the opposite conference of LeBron James?
I honestly think it's coincidental. I think these particular moves are coincidental. But I mean, there was a power shift that happened. It wasn't tied to LeBron James. You know what I mean? But I mean, I don't think anybody's running from LeBron James. Anybody that moved to the East is running from the West. it's not just LeBron James out there. Luka just showed up. The Nuggets are playing. Jokic just kind of arrived in the last 2 or 3 years. I think it's a combination of all of it that may have driven some of these guys to go elsewhere. But I do not put that squarely on LeBron.
Okay. So, how about you, Chris?
I mean, I I sort of agree, to be honest. Like the East, there's just more opportunity in the East. You can get to the finals easier. It's as simple as that, man. The West is just too loaded. I mean, you forget about the Jazz as well. Like, don't forget about the Jazz. CP3's gone to the Suns. I think they can do some stuff as well, man. It's just, yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot going on, man.
yeah, but now you look at the East, and there's a lot going on in the East now. Like we're talking about Jimmy Butler, Bam, Jason Tatum, like Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, like now Russell Westbrook, Bradley Beal, like Kyle Lowry and Fred Van Fleet. Like we're talking like there's
But
a lot there's competition in the East now. This
no,
ain't
there
the
is.
same East.
But what I'm saying is, if you, okay, here's a question. Even on some of the lesser teams in the West,
Mm-hmm.
if you compare the West to the East, where could somebody go if they wanted to have their own team and also be able to compete?
In the West.
I'm just saying, compare the two conferences. Just name all the teams you can think of where somebody could go to and just be like, okay, it's the day I arrive, it's my team, but I still have a chance to compete and make it to the playoffs. Most of those teams are in the
Sacramento,
East.
maybe.
Huh?
Sacramento.
You might not have a chance to make the playoffs. Maybe the Pelicans. Pelicans is a good one. Pelicans, Suns.
But it wouldn't be your team. That's Zion's team.
Well, even one less team. Now, Suns, you're right. You got Devontae. They got Booker. They got Devin Booker.
Mm-hmm.
But you get what I'm saying. There's not as many of the premier superstars in the East. You know what I mean? There's a lot of teams that are on the cusp of being in the playoffs that don't have a premier superstar. So you could go there and show up. If Kemba Walker were to leave for any reason, anybody could walk into the Boston Celtics team right now, and then not only does it become your team, but then also
No way. The Boston Celtics. No way. The Boston Celtics is 1,000% Jason Tatum's team. 1,000%.
what I'm saying is, if you're KD and you arrive to Boston, is that your team? If
Well,
you're Harden,
KD could go to LA Lakers, and I'm sorry,
what I'm
LeBron,
saying,
this ain't your team.
I'm
no
mentioning the names of the people that went to the East: KD, Kyrie. Maybe if Russ goes to Boston, maybe it's like both of their team. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Red talking to Debo in Friday is, it's kind of like both of ours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I'm talking about the guys that left. If Russ goes to play with Luka, it's not his team.
Yeah, but
As good as Russ is, it's not his team. If Kyrie goes to play with Luka, it's not his team.
But if Luka came to, let's say if Luka came to play with, if Luka came to Boston, it's not Luka's team. It's still Jason Tatum's team.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm mentioning the guys that have left to go where they went.
Right.
I'm saying
I
understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is what you're telling me. You're saying is Jason Tatum's team. My point is, it just became Jason Tatum's team. He just got his contract.
He just got his contract, but
he just had his first year where people feel like he's realized his potential.
But it's always been, but basically, like,
he's been the guy they've been grooming. He's been the yes. But what I'm saying is, the second that Kyrie showed up, it wasn't Jason Tatum's team.
But no, it was definitely. But that's the thing, though. It was definitely like, no, Kyrie, you're here to help. Like, you're here to be a point guard. Be a point guard for Jason Tatum. Like, and like that's what you.
What I'm saying is, although it should have been Jason Tatum's team, it wasn't when Kyrie showed up.
But that's on Kyrie. That has nothing to do with.
Yeah, what I'm saying is nothing. There's nothing that Kyrie could do to make the Dallas Mavericks his team if he went there.
But that's in general. There's nothing that Kyrie could do in a lot of places to make it his team. Like,
Yeah,
dog, you in real rap, like that. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's my philosophy about a point guard is you are to be seen, not heard. Like, this ain't like you as a point guard. It's not meant to be your team. You are never meant to be the guy and be a point guard. Like, that's not what you're there for. You're there to lift everybody else up. Like, you know what I mean? And you be this, you could be the great second option, but that's it. Like, you're supposed to be the great second option and lift up everybody else. That's what a great point guard does.
yeah. I mean, I hear you, but like I said, I, if I was in the West or if I was anywhere and I'm looking for a new team and I consider myself to be in my own mind a top 5 superstar, I'm going to the East. I'm going to get my own team. I'm going to be able to handpick everything, and I have an easier chance to get into the finals. I think it's a combination of everything.
Like,
But
like
I think the most
basically,
important part is people
like,
want their own team.
like basically when
Tired of
Steve,
sharing with superstars.
like basically when Steve Nash was playing, you know what I'm saying? Like, you put a scorer on that team that, like, you know what I mean? The scorer is going to be more prolific because that's what Steve Nash is going to do. He's going to do his job and be a great point guard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Look, man,
they,
you speaking in dinosaur terms to the new NBA, man. You're speaking about you want your point guards not to score. Guess what?
I
The
didn't.
NBA
No, I
wants,
didn't say that. I didn't say that.
no,
I
no, no.
just want
But
my point guards to
I'm
be point
saying it in
guards.
a way. So let me say it in a way that you can understand. The NBA wants their point guards to be the most prolific scorers on their teams.
And if that, but
That's the way of the new NBA.
if you,
Okay.
but if that's what you want from your point guard, then you don't want a point guard. You want a shooting guard.
I mean, what's the point? Why would you call him a point guard if he can't get points? I'm trying to figure this out, Mark.
I can't listen, dog.
I'm just
Listen, I didn't title this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why? Help me understand why the center is the 5 and not the 1. Like, I don't. Like,
Look, man, I don't know, but yeah, that's what it is, man. But I'm interested to see the East. The East is going to be way more competitive than previous years. It's slowly been becoming that over these past few years. The West is interesting just because there's so many teams that kind of came around that we thought were going to fade away. Like, everybody thought those 2 years ago, if you asked everybody about Denver and Utah, they were just like, it's Denver, it's Utah, whatever. And they now it's taken 3 consecutive playoffs for people to now start to actually put some respect on these teams' names and be like, okay, so maybe they're not going anywhere.
right.
You know what I mean? So, but
And I will say this to close this out because I know somebody that's going to listen is going to have some weirdo rebuttal or whatever, try to have an argument with me about my point guard take. Understand that I am not talking about point guard. I don't want my point guards to not score, and I don't want my point guards to not have nights where they take over and shit like that. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about at all. And I'm really saying that point guards have a greater job to do than scoring. Scoring should be second on their list of things to do, not number 1.
got it. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You want your Steve Nash point guards, 15 points, 10 assists, I see you.
Okay. Hey, look, if you listen in today's NBA with the small forwards and point and power forwards that are out here today, like, Doug, if I'm getting 15 points and 10 assists from my point guard consistently, guess what I'm getting from that small forward or power forward? Probably 30. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I'll take that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's, Chris, you have anything to follow that up with?
No, I mean just touching on like Shawn talking about, you go to the East, you can just walk onto a team and you're the superstar. I mean, wasn't that what Kawhi did? So maybe dudes are like trying to, you know,
That see,
copy his thing that he did.
well, there goes like. See, why didn't you think of that, Sean? Because there goes an example of
Well, he kind
someone.
of came and gone so quick. I mean, it was terrible. I mean, how am I supposed to know?
He got his chip and he got out of there,
We
man.
could say Jimmy Butler going on Miami. We could say a lot of things, man. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying the East is the place to do it.
yeah, but I'm just saying, Jim. Well, yeah. So I mean, those are two actual examples.
I was
So there
gonna
you
say
go.
because if you disrespect Jimmy on here, you're gonna have to see
No,
Darius.
stop,
You're gonna have to
stop.
see Darius.
Stop. It wasn't a disrespectful thing. No, it was
I
more
know
so.
because you was about to say he wasn't a superstar.
No,
You was about to
no,
say
no.
that.
That's not what I was about to say. Stop trying to put words in my mouth.
Yeah,
What I
okay,
was about
Darius.
to say, what I was about to say was that there was nobody on Miami when Jimmy got there. That's what I was about to say, but I redacted that. So, like,
Yeah, but
but but in both of those cases, that is true because Kawhi stepped on, I mean, and stepped right on Kyle Lowry, and Jimmy came in and stepped right on Bam and Montrez, and so it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
You
but
said Montrez. You
yeah,
mean Crowder?
yeah, thank you, Crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All these dudes with the dreads, man, they started looking like.
You're not
Anyway,
going to talk about Goran Dragic? Like, you didn't step on him? What about him?
man, that boy be stepping on himself, man. Name one season that you seen this boy Dragic make it through a whole season healthy. Name one. When was the last time?
True. You got me there.
Yeah.
Man, Dragic, man. I like Dragic though. I'm not gonna front. I like him though, so I can't say nothing bad about him. But yes,
Hero might
Forget
is
about
probably
it because
going to
he's
take a
so
great next step, though.
All right, so what we got? Are we going to the NFL now?
Yeah, I think we're moving on in the NFL.
Okay. I have the NFL schedule up here.
Yeah.
I just want to I want to dive right into the cool stuff. So I'm gonna I just want to dive straight into the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Washington football team game.
That's what you want to talk about. Sure.
I'll let you go wherever you want to go after that. But Mark, you know what I'm saying? I remember us having a conversation about this Steelers team, and I still stand on what I said then. I say that I felt like at the time that they were the most complete, the most balanced team offensively and defensively. And I thought they were the most complete team when it came to that. Um, but I also felt like they hadn't been tested yet. Um, I don't even know, even though they lost this game to Washington, I don't consider this technically to be a test. What I learned from this game, Mark, is that everybody's been complaining about James Conner not really having the type of year that they thought he would, not having the year that he had last year. And although that is true, it is very clear to me that he is very much needed for this offense to run.
Uh-huh.
When he is gone, they do horribly. They cannot move the ball on the ground with anybody else in that backfield, and it completely affects the way that the offense is ran. So, like I said, even though they lost, I don't believe that this was too much of a test. It's more of a wake up call to say, hey, you guys need all your guys to be here if you're going to want to compete. There's no reason why they should have lost this game. Tomlin's. I've never been a fan of him going for it all the time. This is just one of those games where, I mean, it works out most times. This is one of those games where it didn't work out for him. Turnovers got him. It was a crazy turn of events in the fourth quarter that had them go from being up 17-10 to losing the game 23-17. So, um, but I will say, if you can't, like, I mean, Gibson got hurt and they still couldn't capitalize on that. So, Alex Smith played a great game. I, I don't know, Mark. I feel like the receivers definitely let the team down.
I do know.
Everybody was
So
dropping the ball,
I do
but
know. So when you're ready, let me know.
yeah. But with that said, they better figure out what they're doing because they do have some games coming up that will test them more than this Washington game.
Okay.
But the bigger takeaway I think from this game for me, Mark, is that Washington has a their defense is starting to finally gel uh, under Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera clearly is a better coach than any of the coaches that they've had in recent history because even though they were down 7 with Steelers having the ball with like less than 10 minutes, they still he managed to keep the team, mentally in the game and had them hold their composure to put together the game winning drives. So like in his play calling, clearly the play calling, I don't know if he was calling the plays himself or the offensive coordinator, but whatever's happening with the play calling was definitely the right stuff that needed to happen for them to capitalize on the turnovers that the Steelers were giving them, and then also the the type of defensive front that the Steelers put up there for them. So that's what I got from it. I don't know what you got from the game, Mark. What you get from that thing, man?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. Like this, everything you said. I spoke on it before early in the beginning of the season. I told you and I told everyone else that would listen that if you're expecting this Washington football team to be the Washington football team of last year or the Washington football team of old, then you would absolutely be incorrect. Did I not have that conversation?
We did, man. We both had well, we both knew that with the level of talent that they had on defense, that for sure at the minimum, that defense was going to be it was going to be what it's supposed to be.
Right. Now, especially given the coach that they have now. Now,
Yes.
secondly, I s- and secondly, I've been telling you all season that going undefeated is really hard. Like,
Yeah.
like I've said, it doesn't matter who you play. Like, you could play 16 games of scrubs. Going undefeated is still really hard to do. It's not an easy task, and that like anyone that's looking to this game to be anything more than just an example of going 16-0 is really hard. You're looking too hard at this game because that's all this really was an example of it's really hard to just go undefeated, man. You can't have it day in day out, and
You eventually gonna slip up and somebody gonna catch you, man.
right, and that's the beauty of football is because you're eventually going to slip up. Somebody's going to catch you. You just hope that you don't slip up in the playoffs. Like you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's it.
But somebody is going to catch you, and that's all this game was like. Because I guarantee you, 8 times out of 10, the Steelers are winning that game. And this
Yeah.
just ain't it. And especially now the drops from Ebram and the drops from Deontay, like
Deontay Johnson is horrible, Mark.
Well, here's the
drops balls every week, but it was excessive.
well
It was
here's
excessive
here's the
yesterday.
problem. You and I have discussed this. Deontay, here's the main problem, and we read an article about it, about how Deontay is essentially playing the Antonio Brown role, and they basically have I mean Chase Claypool. They have him playing the outside where that role should be switched. Those two roles should be switched. Chase should be playing the Antonio Brown role, and Deontay should be playing that outside role. Now, like that's just how that should go. But like Mike Tomlin is more of a traditionalist in that way, where you're a rookie, so you have to play. I can't hand you the keys. Like, you know what I mean? So like that's just how that's gonna go. But it should, but I guarantee you those roles change next year. Like
I
I
think it's going to cost. I personally think it's going to cost them if they don't make that change. It's going to cost them in the playoffs. I personally believe that.
it
It,
may
it,
it very well may. It very well may, but because that is the one real flaw in their offense is Deontay and Chase's roles need to be switched. Um,
yeah, I agree. I agree, man.
so but and also beyond that, like part of that like is the fact that let's not forget this is a team that had to play on Wednesday, last Wednesday.
Yes.
And you know what I mean? And then they still had to play on a irregular day of Tuesday, no, Monday.
Yeah.
Of a like you know what I mean? Like they still had to play on a regular day that they wasn't, so like they
Short
had a
week.
short, so they still had a short week. Played on a
Yeah.
Wednesday and still had a short week. So
Yeah. So, yeah, and I think that's part of it too.
yeah, so
So,
like they weren't. So I mean, it is what it is, but like it's hard to go 16 games, and it's especially hard when you have the conditions placed in front of you that they have, where they have like a 10-day stint of not playing, and then they play and then have a 5-day layoff, like and then have a short week. That's not
yeah.
conducive to being able to play proper football. So it is what it is, man. Don't so I say all that just to say to everyone, don't look into this game and be like, "Oh, I told you that the Steelers weren't a legit team." Like, what are you talking about? Anybody that wins 11 games straight is legit. Like you sound weird. Like you don't win 11 games by accident. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so,
I agree. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't gonna come in here and try to say that because I still believe if you're talking about having the offensive firepower through the air, whenever Connor comes back, he is definitely solid enough on the ground. You have to respect that. And then the way that their defense plays, they not only do they play tough against the yards, but they also get takeaways. I mean, they're going to be a tough out, but these games that they have where they randomly give you, 12 points here, 17 points here, this can't happen.
right.
This can't happen. I don't care how good their defense is. This can't happen. Um, so I wanna bring up the Raiders game. I'm gonna ask Chris this question. So so they have the Raiders game. The Raiders game. They're down. They essentially need a Hail Mary play. It's last play of the game. Um, they got some yards to go. Seemingly looks like the Jets have this game in the bag. And the Jets decide to do an all-out blitz, man coverage everywhere, zero, cover zero blitz. And of course, I mean, this is exactly the scenario. This scenario is exactly one of the scenarios why they drafted Henry Ruggs because he's fast. And if you're going to put him in man coverage and have 50 yards of space, then he's going to outrun whoever it is that's guarding him. And that's exactly what happened. And it turned into a touchdown. I mean, he smoked him. He had him by like 10 yards, Mark. So, but, obviously everybody kind of, if you're following that stuff, then you know that Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, was fired. They cut him loose. They said, that is unacceptable what you did. There was absolutely no reason for you to do that. Prevent defense. Everybody knows. I mean, even if you decided to blitz, you should at least have one high safety. Even that would have been a mistake. But come on, man. You can't go out there and do this last play of the game. But the more intriguing story behind this is some people are suspecting self-sabotage. They think that Greg Williams decided, hey, you know what? I'm sick of what I'm seeing here with this Jets organization. I'm tired of having to work for Adam Gase as my head coach, and I'm pulling chalks. I'm getting the heck up out of here. He did a suicide by bad defensive call, and he got himself up out of there. Like, I don't know if any of this is true, but I mean, Clark. Excuse me, Christopher Clark. I mean, we didn't get into this before the show started, but you might be a Raiders fan yourself. You work, you kind of work in selling Raiders apparel and all that stuff too. So I mean, as a Raiders fan, I'm sure you don't care about that. How did the victory feel, and then also, what are your thoughts about the possibilities that Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator, may have just thrown the game?
Well, let me present this to you, right? So Ruggs, you talked about Ruggs. Obviously, he caught the game-winning touchdown, right? Now, Ruggs was making mistakes for the entire game. So did Greg Williams say, I'm willing to take this risk because this guy's been, I think he fumbled. He was, missing catches, all kinds of stuff. So was he willing to take that risk and just leave Ruggs open? Potentially.
I mean, guys on their worst day can catch an open ball. You never know when they come out of that slump. It's a possibility. I'm not saying it's not a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. Greg Williams is known to be one of the he's a guy that likes to take risks on defense. So it's not too far-fetched to say that he might have just looked at the scenario and said, F it, man, we taking a shot. Yeah, that's a possibility. But I do understand how horrible Adam Gase is as a coach. I do understand that the Jets are well on their way to being 0-16. I'm just saying, if you wanted to get out of that situation, what better way to do it than to sabotage the only win that they might get? I mean, that's a guaranteed ticket out of there. But
hey, man, have you looked at it from this perspective? Maybe he was told, yo, don't call a defense that's to try to win. Call a defense that leaves room open. And have you looked at it like that? And then he said, look, let me out of here. like after the loss, he said, yo, I wash my hands. I'm not out here to intentionally lose. Let me go. Have you thought about that?
Man, I don't know. So kind of like, this is the last hit I'm gonna do for you guys. This is the last job, and after I do this, I'm out of the game. That's what you saying, Mark. Like, he was just like, okay, I'll do this last deed, and then of course when he leaves, they're just gonna be like, yeah, that was him. He ain't tell him to do that shit.
Right.
Like, yeah, man, that is a possibility. I also look at it as, hey, man, they already weren't getting along. They're trying to make sure they secure the number 1 overall pick. And they're like, you know what? Go ahead, call that. We're getting rid of you anyway, Told him to do it. He does it. They get rid of him. They blame it all on him. He keeps quiet. He would make a big stink about it, but he really looks at the situation and says, "Do I really want to keep this job?" And he says, "Fuck it, I'll let them blame it on me. I'm out of this. I'm out of this bitch." I don't know, but I mean, Mark, I'm hoping that I hear something come from this story other than just he's just that stupid to make a bonehead play. I really like Greg Williams as a defensive coordinator. I would love to see him go to a team that would appreciate him and give him, a little bit better tools to work with. You know, go figure. He shows up to the Jets to get rid of Jamal Adams. Uh, so personally, Mark, I think the team that he should go to is Dallas Cowboys.
Mm?
They need a risk taker over there. I mean,
Yeah.
right now, this season isn't salvageable, but next year, having Dak back, having guys back, if they're even able to get, realize 75% of the amount of offense that they were able to have at the start of the season, and you get somebody in there that's willing to take the risk and willing to throw some blitzes out there and willing to tell his guys, hey man, go for those turnovers,
Yeah.
then yeah, they might have something.
Yeah. I feel you. 1,000% feel you. But I like Greg Williams. I like him as well. Um, understand that we the Eagles should have a job open next year, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You go about your business however you need to, sir.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. I mean, hey man, y'all need to worry about contracts, not recruiting coaches. But
Hey.
you know what, man? We're gonna talk about the Eagles. That was actually the next topic anyway. Um, Jalen Hurts has been named the starter for this
Mm-hmm.
week. Jalen Hurts replaced Carson Wentz in this past week's game. Uh, During that time, and I don't have the end game stats here with me, but I do recall towards the end of the game, you could see that Carson Wentz didn't break 100 yards passing at the time when he got replaced. He also had 4 sacks, Mark, at the time
Mm-hmm.
when he got replaced.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Jalen Hurts went on to only get sacked once for the remainder of the game, and then that he also was able to put up almost 200 yards of offense.
Well, here's the thing. 1,000%. I've expressed before. Um, maybe we'll put that out as a bonus clip or whatever. But I've expressed before that Carson. It's not all on the offensive line. It's on Carson Wentz. Um, what he is doing out there. Um,
Yes.
because he holds on to the ball too long. And what we've seen immediately from Jalen Hurts is he
He
that
makes a
he
decision.
he was very efficient and quick with his decision making. Now one could possibly say that maybe Carson, like, there's a lot that could be going on with Carson, which none of it leads to being good, because there could be
Go
because
ahead, go ahead, man.
it could be the fact that he had to deal with his receivers being trash and not wanting to catch the balls for so long that he instead of throwing to them where they are supposed to be, he has to wait to see you be open because he's used to you messing it up. That could be an answer. But if that's the answer, like, that's not fixable here. Like,
Yeah.
you basically need a change of scenery for your mind to be able to reset. Otherwise, your mind is not going to reset here. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's one. And then, like, people say, well, like, he's jumpy and because of the offensive line issues. Well, I don't believe that, because if you were jumpy, you would just be throwing the ball anywhere instead
Yeah.
of holding on to the ball forever, which is something that he does. He holds on to the ball forever. So, like, and Jalen Hurts did exactly the opposite. Jalen Hurts had an interception, but that like I just for those that are just watching stats and reading stats, he had an interception, but that interception was off a deflection. Like,
Like
it,
somebody that rushed the passer came in and actually hit his arm
yeah, they hit
in the middle of
like
his throw.
not only did they hit his arm, but then even still, it was an incredible play by the DB for a diving interception. Like he dove to the left to make that. Like that was not
Yeah,
something that was not a ball that anybody had a chance at
and
outside of the fact that he was hit.
and I'll mention that the pass that he was trying to make, if his arm hadn't been hit, it was to a receiver that was wide open. That
Hmm.
might have been a touchdown if
Okay.
if he wasn't hit on the play. Like you can accept that type of interception, man. You know.
Okay. To be clear, Hurts took 3 sacks in that
So
game.
yeah, it was one at the time when I looked. He took 3 sacks.
He
Okay,
took three
but
sacks, but
this is what I'll say. You know, if Carson gets sacked 6 times a game, whatever the number may be, and a rookie comes in, the expectation should be the rookie should be getting sacked more than Carson Wentz. We will see how this turns out. And Mark, I'll be honest with you. Um, if Hertz doesn't go down 5 or 6 times, I don't know if you can blame. Like I know that we can't blame it on the offensive line. I know what my eyes tell me, Mark, but it will be uh, painstakingly clear to everybody else if Hertz comes in and continues to play and somehow avoids sacks. If he does that, then I guess you know what I'm saying. Then we really will be looking at Carson Wentz and asking, was it really the offensive line? So,
right.
um, I don't know if I had anything else for the Carson Wentz Jalen Hurts situation. Um, did you have anything else for that?
Um, yeah and no. No, because a lot of the other stuff, I will say this. I do believe that Hurts being named the starter of the Eagles is the right move. I did not expect the right move because I never expect the Eagles to do the right thing. Now, with that being said, I do also believe that this move was something forced. Um, it came. I believe this came from above Howie Roseman, and I feel as though it came from above Doug as well.
I believe so too.
So I will say, but I will also say this: that if Jeff Lurie has the intention of firing Doug Peterson and the intention of firing Howie Roseman, if he has the intention of firing them both at the end of the season, then I'm not sure if I would have wanted to make this move because
It's kind of late.
well, it's not about it being late. I just if I feel as though you as the coach had anything to do with why this quarterback has nosedive, I don't want you touching the new one. Like I don't
I feel you. I feel you.
like
Yeah.
I don't want your fingerprints on the new one at all. If I feel as though you are the reason for this nosedive of the last one. So I don't want any of your philosophy to mess up whatever my new coach that I have coming in is going to want be done.
Mhm.
So that's it. But I mean, I get it, like because like you have Jalen Hurts, Carson Wentz is bad. You have to see what you got, and then we're at the end of the season. No better time than the present, honestly, to see in-game action to know what's up. So I get it. At the end of the day, I just really don't think I would want the coach of old touching my new toy and putting his fingerprints on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I have. This is kind of an oddball topic, just because of who it is. And I feel like it's being ignored by everybody. Um, the Browns are 9-3.
Yeah.
Um, the the Browns are 9-3 right now, and nobody cares. Like now, I mean, I think it's far enough into the season to where we have to ask the question: is this legit? Is this the team that we've been seeing? This record, when we look at this record, is this team for real, Mark? That's my question to you. Is this team for real?
Well, yes, they are for real. But are they a legitimate contender? No. They're
Why do you feel like they're not a legit contender? That's a question for sure.
well because their quarterback is garbage. Like it's
Mark, that's okay. Go ahead. The quarterback is garbage. Anything else?
no.
Elaborate, please. Elaborate.
Should why should I? There's plenty of film to elaborate for me as to why the quarterback is garbage.
Man, I'm gonna be forced to look up some stats. Uh,
Listen,
yeah.
Linda. Listen.
What? Relax, dog.
Are you listening?
I'm listening to you, man, bro.
Okay.
Like, what? You
Okay.
just go say, see, you're just like the rest of the media. It's the Browns. I don't like Baker
No,
Mayfield. They
no,
trash.
no. Wrong.
Go ahead.
Because I've hated Baker Mayfield from Jump Street, like from the jump, and people used to love him. But anyway, regardless of all that, the fact of the matter is, do I think Baker Mayfield has the possibility of being a manager, a game manager, and getting shit done? Yes, he does have that possibility. And does he have the possibility of putting up a game that he did this week? Yes, he has a possibility of putting up outlier games. But that's what it is. It's an outlier game. Like these are not games that he cannot go week in, week out and do this. He can't do it 2 weeks in a row. He like you know what I'm saying? This isn't something that you can't rest your hat on his ability to do so. And they're
Mhm.
and they're run like it's just he is not capable of like outside of a lightning in a bottle situation, is not capable of giving you something that you can count on. And that is what's holding them back is the quarterback.
Man, Mark. See, I guess for me, I have a hard time just letting that go so easily because in in and I agree with you to a certain extent, but the way that I see the type of year that Baker Mayfield is having right now is what I would consider to be Alex Smith ish type year. Maybe a little bit more offense involved, but that's where I see him. He's got 21 touchdowns and he's got 7 interceptions, about 63% completion. Um, he's the Browns are doing exactly what they need to do. The play calling for these games are exactly what they need to be on offense. I would like to see them do a little bit better defensively, but right now they're if you're gonna score 30 plus points a game, then you're gonna be in all of these games.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I'll say is, although you mentioned that he's not a great quarterback, um, I would like to focus on the fact that he's been clutch, and that kind of makes up for things. So,
Mm,
if he's going to continue to play these close games down the stretch and make plays, then that's it. That's more important than the level of consistency that you would like to see from him throughout the games or from game to game, because of the fact that they can lean on their two running backs and because the fact that they can lean on their defense. So personally, I do think they're a legit contender because I don't think there's going to be a bunch of scenarios that will have it be like, "Hey Baker, it's on you again." Like,
Hey,
I don't
okay,
see that as
no.
being
Here's
the
a
case.
perfect example. Here's a perfect example. Baltimore Ravens, um, their last championship, the Joe Flacco one.
Yeah,
Like they got there off of defense and running. That's how
yes,
they got there. But in that day, because that's how they got there, and that's what the other team prepared for, what they needed was Joe Flacco to step up and fulfill a role.
yeah,
Baker Mayfield is not Joe Flacco. He cannot fulfill that role. He cannot
the
fulfill that role at that when it comes to the playoff. Because now we're not just talking about a regular season game. We're now talking about a game where this team is specifically. They're not just running through the plays to what works but they're trying to beat you. No, now they're specifically you making the plays for you. Like these are for you, specifically against your team. They're
yeah.
preparing for you now, and we know like Baker Mayfield ain't that. Like he's not.
I personally feel like he's been proving to be that this year. I don't know how close you've been watching the games, but he's been tested. He's being tested, and he's been passing these tests this year. Is what I'm saying. Now, granted, playoffs is a different beast, but he's shown me enough this season, up until this point of this season, that I will not go out on a limb. Although I won't go out on a limb and say I trust him 100% to be that guy. But I also but I've seen enough to say that I cannot rule him out from being that guy. I can't just look at him the way that you look at him and say, look, he's not that. He's not that. It ain't gonna be that. I can't do that. He's shown me enough this year, late in games. Now, with that said, you know what? He has playmakers. He can get the ball in the hands of his playmakers, and that's really what it comes down to. Joe Flacco, when he won that Super Bowl, um, Joe Flacco was not the star of that Super Bowl. He got the MVP, yeah, he did, but what I remember is Anquan Bolden making plays. I remember, the wide receivers were all making plays. They had a kick return. They had a guy do a circus catch and get a touchdown off of it. These are the things that I remember. It wasn't that Joe Flacco was doing amazing things. All he had to do was be poised in the moments that they needed him to be poised, and everybody else did what they needed to do around him. As of right now, late in these games, not only is Baker being poised, but he is also making plays, which is more than what I've seen Joe Flacco do. So that's where I got him. I mean, I guess for right now, we're gonna have to agree to disagree, but I'll be following this, and we're gonna see what it turns out to be.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it's going to turn out to be.
I know you don't like Baker, man. You need to go watch the film. You need to
No,
go watch the
I listen.
film.
Baker, look, you're right. I don't like Baker. Baker is a hair above Johnny Manziel. Like,
I feel like he surpassed that this year. He's showing me something this year.
ooh, he showed me something this year. Okay.
Come on, man. You can't. All right, that's fine. That's fine. But we gonna get back to this. We're gonna get back to this Cleveland team.
Yo,
Man.
I just want you to understand Baker Mayfield is averaging 7.5 yards per pass. Like, he's not asked to do much. He's not asked to
That's
do.
what I'm saying. I told you he's having an Alex Smith-ish year.
But
I'm telling you he's
but
being
I'm
poised. I'm
hold
telling
on.
you he's making plays when he needs to make plays. That don't mean he's gonna throw up a bunch of numbers.
Doug, He's not being asked to do nothing. That's not a challenge.
That's not going to change.
He's not.
Yes, it is a challenge. Like it's
No,
just
but
like saying
what I'm saying is in the playoffs, that's when they'll ask you to do something because Nick Chubb
what I'm
ain't getting
saying is
off
there's
in the
not a
playoffs.
playoff team that exists right now that could do anything about Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's
You
not going to change.
you would
Them
be
asking him to do more is not going to change. Them asking him to be clutch late in the game is something that they're already
you
asking him
would
to
be
do. That's the
incorrect.
most that they ask him to do, and he's getting it done, Mark. That's what I'm
You
saying.
would be incorrect. If they run into the Steelers, it's a problem. If they run into the Ravens, it's a problem.
I don't think so.
What do you mean? The
I don't
Steelers
think
and the
so.
Ravens defense is a problem. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are not getting off against either one of those teams like that. Actually, I'm going to watch the next game and I'll come back to you about the Steelers because the Steelers losing Bud Dupree could possibly be a real problem. So I'm going to come back to you about the Steelers.
Yeah.
But when it but as far as the Baltimore Ravens go, no, like y'all not getting that runoff like that. That's not happening like that.
I believe maybe I'm crazy, but I believe they have the best backfield in the NFL, and I do feel like they could get off on anybody.
Okay. Yeah, no, but all right.
As long as both of them are healthy, they could get off on anybody.
Mm,
That's just that's just how I feel about it. Maybe I'm putting too much stock in their abilities, but that's the way it looks like to me when I watch the games, and that's what it feels like.
Well,
okay.
listen, Sean, let me throw something in, right? Look at their schedule, right? Cleveland's two biggest losses were to Baltimore and the Steelers.
Thank you.
So,
We're talking. Well, they lost to Baltimore the first game of the season. This is before they got their offense rolling. Yes, and the Steelers did beat up on them, but when they played the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken, they only had one running back and not two. They did not play them at full strength. Matter of fact, I don't even know if both running backs were there for the Ravens game. I need to see. They're going to play them again, so I'm not even worried about this. I want to see. I want to see what it looks like when they play both of these teams again, because I feel like the teams, the Browns teams that they played back then, is not the same ones here. Okay, here we go. They did play. They did play. They did play Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb versus the Ravens in the first game of the season.
mm-hmm.
Kareem Hunt 13 carries for 72 yards. Nick Chubb 10 for 60. They averaged 6.6 yards per carry and 5.5 yards per carry. Like I said, they're gonna get off. It's a matter of whether or not they're gonna dedicate their time. That obviously is a game where Baker didn't do so well.
He was terrible.
But once again, I feel like the Browns team that we see in right now is different than that Browns team that was there.
It's not okay. I mean, I get it.
You'll see next week. They got to play the Ravens next week. They got to play the Ravens next week. We're gonna see.
We will see. We will see. And I'm going to say this that
You gonna
if
put some bread up?
no, because I don't know. No, I'm not putting bread. Understand, I'm not putting bread up based on the Ravens' offense as of right now. Like they got to figure that shit out. Like now, maybe this was the get right game that they needed, but Cleveland does have a defense, and this is the regular season.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Cleveland has a defense. I wholeheartedly believe in Cleveland's defense.
Yes.
But my specific point to you is that Baker is not it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel as though Baker at some point will be the failing.
What I'm saying is Baker in the past has lost them games. Baker
and that's
has
my
not,
point.
in the past. So I'm saying is he has not lost them games like he has in the past. Is what I'm saying, and that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm seeing. the guy that was consistently losing them games or turning the ball over a bunch. He has seven interceptions on the season,
Now
man.
listen,
Not doing what he was doing before.
like when they
Whether it's
play,
because they're not
when
asking him to
Cleveland,
do as much or
when
what, it doesn't
Cleveland
matter.
played,
He's not. What's
when
up?
Cleveland played the Steelers, they did only have Kareem Hunt, but Kareem Hunt was shut down all the way.
What I'm saying is, once again, they have Chubb and Hunt right now. I'm saying, with as long as they have their two running backs both healthy, they're going to be a problem for anybody.
And what I'm saying is, not when it comes to the Steelers, that doesn't
I
matter.
think so. But yeah, we'll see again. We'll see again. They play him
Yeah,
last game.
well, yeah, we will see, and actually, we won't see because at the last game of the season, that shit ain't going to matter to the Steelers.
Well, they right now they both in the playoffs, and I know you mentioned the Ravens. The Ravens ain't even looking like they're gonna be in the playoffs as of right now. The Ravens need to win some games.
Yeah, the Ravens need to win. The Ravens wholeheartedly need to win games. Like that's
It's a must win for them next week versus the Browns.
yeah, more so. Yes, definitely more so than Cleveland. It's more of a win. Like it's an important game for them. Honestly, I'm going to say this though, uh, based off of what I saw today, if they have Lamar, if this was able to be a get right game for Lamar, then they're going to be a problem. Like there's certain things that the Ravens have to do, and one is they have to put J.K. Dobbins in the starting role. That's one. That's no numero uno. He should not be
Yeah,
behind anybody at all at this
yeah,
point in the season, and they have to reduce the amount of touches that Gus Edwards gets. Like that's it. Like they less share, less time share, and more single back. Like and J.K. Dobbins needs to be the guy.
yeah.
Um, and
Just
secondly,
take him out when he needs a breather. That's
yeah,
it, man. Like,
and secondly, you have to unleash the beast that is Lamar. Like, yo, drop back, take off. That's like you know what I mean. Like you have to have him do that a couple times. Like, yo, do you like? I don't even want you to look for a receiver. Just drop back and take the fuck off. Like just so a team know like okay, this is what could happen. Like you
yeah,
because these receivers ain't it. Like these receivers are not it, especially without Mark Andrews. Like that's a big deal. So
yeah,
you have to start playing with the other team's mind to actually do something. And when it comes to this, that's one of the ways that you can do it is have Lamar as soon as he snaps that ball, take off. So that way teams can't they can't they can't key in on them the way that they want to, and they can't lock up your receivers the way that they
yeah.
want
All
to.
you want them to do is hesitate, even if it's just
Exactly.
for half of a second, because that will spring somebody loose out there running routes, or it will also buy him an extra bit of time in order to make a play or to go through his progressions.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, that's where it's at with that. I mean, I don't have much faith in what's going on in Baltimore with that situation, but
Yeah. Like if honestly, that's like I wholeheartedly believe that Baltimore defense can hold Cleveland. I do not think Baltimore offense. I let me. I'm not sure Baltimore offense can do what they need to do to win. But
mm,
it so that's my only hesitation with making this is not do I think Cleveland because I don't think Cleveland's offense will get the better of Baltimore's defense. You get what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, picking it up, man.
All right. So with that, mm, next, anything else?
No, no. I mean, uh, I got nothing else NFL wise. I think we touched on pretty much everything. We're getting into the end of the season. These last few weeks, a lot of these playoff races are still pretty tight for the last two spots. So should be interesting games coming into the holiday. You know, I don't know if you want to talk fantasy football. There's not really much to talk about when it comes to pickups and drops and stuff like that. I think now's the time. We're just at the end of that road. Either you're gonna win with what you got or you're gonna lose. Just make sure you start the right lineup, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Per usual, I will actually. I do want to talk. So here's an observation that I have for everyone out there. Never, ever, ever, if you have the number one overall pick, avoid the number one overall person. Avoid them. Like, this is my only advice to you, people out there in the world. It very rarely works out that the person with the person that is ranked number one overall to go first in the fantasy football draft very rarely works out to where that person, you get the value that that person was supposed to give you. Either they turn out to be a bust that year or they get hurt, i.e. Christian McCaffrey gave you what, 4 games this season, maybe 5.
He's given me 3 games of 30 points per game. When he's there, it's amazing.
When he was
That
there, but he does,
Yeah.
but he wasn't there. He
Yeah.
wasn't there all season. This is
should be back this week.
like
but-
that, but that was it for everyone out there. Like, he was not there for you.
Well, we're not even just talking about that. Saquon been gone all season.
Yeah, Saquon, but
These guys were taking.
but Saquon wasn't the
first
number
and
one
second.
overall.
No, he wasn't. No, I
Oh.
get that. Like, no, I don't like.
Like,
I didn't have the number one. I picked second.
We could go back to the David Johnson years. We could go back to any year.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I
Yeah.
picked second, but it doesn't matter. Like Christian McCaffrey, I'm sure he was picked first in most leagues.
Yes.
So yeah, like no, it doesn't typically work out. You're right. You
Yeah.
know?
Like, we could go back to any number of year. What was the Shawn Alex? My favorite year to talk about is Shawn Alexander's year of being the number one consensus in fantasy, because that year the number 2 guy, LaDainian Tomlinson, he had the best fantasy football season of all time, like of literally all time ever, of any fantasy running back, actually of any fantasy football player. Period, probably. But
Yeah,
like,
outside of quarterback, because they just get more points. But
yeah.
actually, you know what? I don't know, man. He might have been putting more points than quarterbacks. As you really think about it, he
Yeah.
probably was the best. Huh.
So like you, this is just a lesson to you all. Having the number one pick is usually not all it's cracked up to be,
I hate it.
and
Never want it.
and the number one overall is usually pretty bad. I'm going to let you guys know, I'm in the playoffs in 2 out of 3 leagues. And in one league, actually, it is somewhat worked out. Actually, no, you won, so it wouldn't have worked out in that league anyway. Even if I didn't, yeah, you won, so I wouldn't admit.
Yeah.
But Darius lost, so. But either way, I didn't do my portion in the league that I did make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
Derrick Henry didn't do his portion, but in one league, because I have Derrick Henry in 2 leagues, and in the other league, basically I have 2 bye weeks in a row. I have the bye week, like this week I had to play somebody, but my number 2 spot was already clinched. So
that was a game against me.
Yeah, so so it didn't matter if I lost that game. And then I have a bye week next week, a real bye week where I don't play anyone. So
yeah. So I did make the playoffs in all 3 of my leagues. I believe I'm probably going to end up in 6th place in Lions versus Men, I'm gonna end up in. Looks like I'm probably gonna be what I'm like fifth or sixth
Hmm.
in the no drama league, but then I'm also gonna be. It's looking like I'm probably just gonna end up just staying put in fourth place in the trash league. So either way, I'm fighting my way up from the bottom in this playoffs. So we're gonna see how it goes. Trash league, we still got another week before the playoff starts, but my spot is pretty much solidified at this point because of the win that I got this week.
Mm. Whew. I don't know if Troy might have knocked himself out. Frank is going to make it, and Troy is not. I don't think. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. Troy lost, so Frank is going into playoffs, and Troy isn't.
Hey man, squeaked in at number six, Mark.
Yeah.
This loss was a rough one. I lost by 1 point in that league. Somehow managed to still survive to make the playoffs.
Well, I'm gonna. I don't want to bog people down with the boredom, but if Christian McCaffrey does indeed come back, I'm banging on the table in my coach voice.
Stop.
Because you,
Y'all in trouble.
no, you see my roster,
No, I
and
do. I do.
if I get that back, woo, that is
Yeah.
scary.
It sucks because I'm kind of hoping he comes back, but I need him for the winner take all league. I
Yo,
need I need that bread. You know what I'm saying?
because that means in that league, that means I have Austin Eckler, James Robinson, and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
Like,
that would be it, man. That should be it. But you know what? We ain't doing that shit, man. I'm trying to get all three of these dubs, man.
hey man, we see what'll happen. But yo, overall, actually before I do this, Chris, you have anything that you would like to add or anything you like to say?
Nah, man, I didn't even play fantasy football this year, man, because I just suck at it. So, nah, man, skip this year.
Yeah, fuck it,
Well,
man.
look, man,
Nah.
step into my office, man. I can teach you some things,
Oh, you
man.
can help me out? Okay.
Yeah, man, definitely can, man. Next season, this whole year has been kind of off, and I've been building how I do want to operate the FLCN, which is the fantasy news portion of our podcast. And so while I'm mapping that out, next season that'll be completely mapped out, and you guys will be able to enjoy that. So,
Mhm.
but anyway, man, Chris, man, it was a pleasure having the voice actor of Kratos available to us. I am
Yo,
You're welcome.
I am
he looks
touched
like he's
truly.
about to call you a fucking nerd, but that's
Nah, I already did that. I already did that. I won't say it again.
uh,
yeah,
yeah. So man, truly feel touched, and Shawn, as always, man, it was a pleasure. This was a great episode. I'm gonna try to make sure this gets out to you guys.
man. Tyrone, we need the Tyrone Chris showdown, man.
Yeah,
We
dog.
need this because I
Wait,
mean,
and can I just say one thing? You said I'm a big Izzy fan. I'm not really a big Izzy fan. I mean, I like
yeah.
him, but
Well, fine then. Would it sound better if I said you were an Izzy sympathizer?
Ooh.
yeah, no, my biggest thing was all the DC hate, all the hate towards Daniel Cormier,
Because he
man. That was my
sucks,
thing.
bro.
See,
See,
here we
yeah.
go. We can't start this now. We can't start this. Look, Mark, we gotta save this for a day that Tyrone is here too. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna let you just railroad Chris, man. I'm not gonna let y'all do him like that. Unfortunately, maybe I'm gonna be put in a position to where I gotta defend DC. But but I will say this. I am looking forward to the conversation that we can have when it comes to DC and John Jones because look, Chris, I need some backup here when it comes to Tyrone's outlandish ways when it comes to John Jones.
What do you mean? What do you need backup for? I'm the one that's out here. I'm out here in the trenches. Like,
He's he doesn't know whether or not John Jones likes Coke. Okay,
What?
that statement enough would let me know just how delirious, you know what I'm saying, what you call it is Tyrone is. You know, he will go to great lengths to try to defend his boy, is what I'll say for sure. So
All right. So, with that being said, that's all we got today. Oh, before we go, I just want everybody to know I'm wearing a new hoodie today. I'm wearing a hoodie that represents uh, a, a local organization here in Philadelphia that is to support the youth, getting them off the streets and getting them into activities that keeps them from out keeps them from being outside doing dangerous things. So just it's a pretty cool hoodie. Shoot basketball, not people. Uh, you could pick just look it up, look up the organization. You could read more about it. Um, Gary Mills is the founder of the organization. Um, he was in one of the Fortune magazines as as an up and comer. So check it out, man. Anyway, with that being said, link, like, subscribe, and as always, if you fuck with us, we fuck with y'all. Peace.